lots in the news to talk about here tonight, and I don't even know where to start. I kind of like this. This is a quickie from Illinois. So it's just basically a headline. There's a long version at the Chicago Tribune, but I think you can get the point relatively quickly here. Big-time Illinois lottery winners aren't getting the largesse. They're getting left out, according to Time magazine. Without a state budget agreement, 2 months into the new fiscal year, there's no authority for the state comptroller to cut checks over $25,000. So that doesn't mean they don't have the $25,000. That just means that because of their system, the way it's set up, that without the budget, now the state comptroller can't do his job. And that means that smaller winnings can be paid out, but not larger lottery wins.
So without the government, who would put the legitimate numbers rackets organizations out of business, right?
Well, there is it is illegal to run numbers, right? Like,
right.
So they're the only ones who can do it.
If you run numbers, you're likely to be an organization that pays out, whereas the Illinois State Lottery, it runs numbers and does not.
Well, they'll pay out when they feel like it. And Susan Rick, who lives in Oglesby, Illinois, planned home fix-ups and a visit to her daughter after her boyfriend thought he won $250,000 last month. But they were told to wait. And Rick told the Chicago Tribune that if the situation were reversed, he said the state would, quote, come and take it. And they don't care whether we have a roof over our head.
They really don't.
Unquote. Lottery spokesbureaucrat Steve Rossi says the state lottery, like every other state agency, is, quote, affected by the budget situation.
Yeah,
unquote.
I guess it's hard to feel too badly for somebody who, played the lottery and won and isn't getting their money as quickly as they would like to get it. But
well, I mean, I'm sure that there's probably some sort of rule in the terms of service where, you read the small print on the back of the lottery ticket or whatever, or I don't think they could probably even fit all the terms on they probably have something like, check our website for full terms. So when you probably go there, there's likely something in the terms that says, we reserve the right to pay you out whenever we damn well feel like it, given the budgetary constraints.
Likely they do, yeah.
So it's probably within the terms, so therefore it's, completely legal what they're doing. But obviously this is a, ridiculous, unacceptable level of customer service.
I would agree with you when it comes to that. I'm just saying that it's difficult to feel like the guy sounds a little entitled. Like he's right.
He's won $250,000.
He
right. Played a game of chance, and he should feel entitled.
Yeah, I guess. I feel in many ways superior, right? Because I refuse to play these games.
Okay.
Because I'm
smart move. Generally, the math is heavily against you. You will likely lose a lot more over time, even if you win here and there. If you're a regular lottery player, you likely lost far more than you've ever won.
So the fact that the guy has, played the odds and the odds fell in his favor kind of doesn't move me that much. Like he should have lost, statistically this guy should have lost. So therefore that he got very, very lucky, and it's going to be a few weeks or so.
Whenever they get this budget deal figured out,
yeah.
I mean, usually it's no more than several weeks before those things happen. They
make
a big to-do about, we're at an impasse. It's those darn Republicans, those darn Democrats' fault.
Yeah, indeed. I don't disagree with you on that, but it's just like, okay, he's right if the roles were reversed, and that's the way to start this statement out. If the roles were reversed, the government would come and take it.
That's right.
If he owed the government $250,000, they would do whatever they felt like doing to get that money.
They'd do whatever they felt like doing if they owed them $2.50, let alone $250,000.
There have been people who've lost their houses over owing the government some small amount of money, like what you're $250.
Exactly. So
$250.
This is yet another example of how there's one set of rules for you and another set of rules for them. And their set of rules is kind of flexible. They can ebb and flow with how things are going in the state house. And even if the rule says something, sometimes those rules can be waived in the interest of justice, which is rule number 1 of the district courts here in New Hampshire, is that the rules can always be waived. So really there are no rules for these people, and they will do whatever it is that they want to do. And so I guess from that perspective, I can see where you're coming from, Mark, that, this guy's wheeling and dealing with a criminal organization, so you shouldn't be surprised when the criminal organization reneges on its agreements and backs out of its promises.
I don't guess that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that he against all odds and good sense won. So, I mean, it's like somebody choosing to wrestle a bear and winning, and then somehow being upset that they got some scratches in the process. I just okay.
I don't know. I can more empathize with this guy. I mean, I don't think you're coming at this from a very compassionate perspective.
I don't generally do that. Like, I'm here as the cold, hard voice of truth, not as compassion for somebody who played a mathematically.
Anybody else playing a game that's a public contest of some sort, has a reasonable expectation, even if the odds are against them, that they're going to be paid out for winning something, especially if the odds are against them, because then it's even more unlikely they would have won, and so therefore more special.
He's supposed to get paid, Ian. I'm not saying he's not supposed to get paid.
You're just saying you can't really empathize.
Did he really plan on this $250,000?
No,
did he play his game and say, I'm going to get this $250,000.
But
I better get those home repairs done and go visit the family or whatever. So
nobody does that with like winning the Olympics. I mean, when you go and you compete in the Olympics, the odds are significantly against you. You're up against the world's greatest athletes. You could argue that you are one of the world's greatest athletes, but you're up against all the rest of the world's greatest athletes. And so,
most of the people who win the Olympics were slated to win the Olympics, or they were in the top 5 or whatever.
I don't know what that means. How can you predict in advance who's going to win the Olympics? That's ridiculous. So
the guy didn't have $250,000 a week ago. He doesn't have $250,000 now.
And you don't have an Olympic gold medal under your belt when you start the Olympics, but yet you expect that the Olympic organization that is inviting you to come play their game is going to have the gold medal to actually give to you at the end of the day.
The guy should get his money, and there's absolutely
it's not just him.
The state's in the wrong.
This is just one person. It's any winner over $25,000, basically from here until further notice. So if you're playing the Illinois lottery, you really are rolling the dice on this one. So there's that. The toll-free number, if you want to share your thoughts, is 855-450-FREE. But look at the larger issue here, which is gambling and legality. We know that the government will crack down on you if they find out that you're running a gambling ring. Let's say you're having a card game with some of your friends on the weekend and you're playing for money. Well, as long as you keep it quiet, odds are good you'll get away with it. But it's illegal in most places to do that.
Well, that's what I was saying about the legitimate numbers running organizations. The numbers running organizations out there that will pay you are kept, they're either put out of business or thrown in jail for, by the state who runs the numbers running organization that will not pay you.
So on this program, we are anti-prohibition. We think that people should be free to engage in victimless crimes like this. Gambling is a perfect example of a victimless crime wherein each participant is participating on their own volition. No one is forcing them to play the game. The risks may be high because they might be odds are against them in most of these gambling situations, but that's their choice. It should be their choice to make that with their own money and with their own time. And in some places in the United States, you can do that. In a lot of Nevada, for instance, you can do that. Atlantic City and some gambling, various gambling casinos run by Indian tribes all across the U.S. So it's certainly not completely prohibited across the board to engage in gambling, so long as the state is getting a big cut of all of the revenue. Then
sin tax.
Yeah, then they're not so concerned about the negative fallout. Now, of course, there is some fallout from gambling, and that is that some people get addicted to it. So should the fact that some people get addicted to gambling mean that gambling is not legal for everyone? Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to purse.freetalklive.com and open an account. Do this right now, don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order, There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to purse.freetalklive.com right now and get signed up and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 25% off of everything on Amazon through purse.freetalklive.com. It's purse.freetalklive.com.
That's the sound your brain makes when you realize you're buying something and forgot the coupon. Online or in a store, knowing that you're missing a deal is the worst. You need the app from Retail Me Not right now. Get thousands of coupons from 50,000 stores like Kohl's, Domino's, Best Buy, and more with crazy deals like 60% off, free shipping, and free gifts with purchase. You can get a text invite to download the Retail Me Not app 100% free right now for Apple or Android. Just text the code UPDATE to 42767. Then just show your phone at checkout to save. It literally couldn't be easier. It's 2015. Keep your coupons in your phone. Stop what you're doing and text UPDATE to 42767. Listeners will get a text with a link to download it 100% free. Never forget another coupon again. Text the code UPDATE to 42767 right now. That's UPDATE to 42767. Message and data rates may apply. For terms and privacy, visit retailmenot.com.
So I say to Mark at lunch, look, I keep hearing from the government that, they're worried someday ISIS may get here. And I go, Doug, Garland, Texas, Mohammed cartoon shooting, ISIS is already here. I'm not waiting for these people to defend me. If they don't know ISIS is here already, they got no clue. I'm taking care of myself. Guns80.com, AR-15 kits, 30-shot magazines, great prices. They've even got the Hillary special. Guns80.com. That's 844-2-GUNS80, Guns80.com.
Thousands of people seeking home security get ripped off every day, and the home security industry wants you to believe that's your only option. They've got hordes of salesmen out there trying to scare you into signing one of their long-term contracts. You get stuck writing huge checks month after month with no way out. It's robbery by contract, and it can cost you thousands. But there's a better way to protect your home. Simply Safe Home Security. Simply Safe has no contracts. None. You'll get award-winning 24/7 protection. Security professionals watching over your home, ready to instantly send police to the rescue for just $14.99 per month. That's less than half what most companies charge. Protect your home the smart way. Visit simplysafedefense.com today for an exclusive 10% offer and get a free keychain remote worth $25. Only when you go to simplysafedefense.com. simplysafedefense.com.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Blockit Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockitPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockitPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockitPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Now, more Free Talk Live. Call in toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free. Bring up anything you want to discuss here at 855-450-FREE, especially if you think that gambling should stay illegal in most places. I know there are some people who feel strongly about this issue. They, they think gambling's evil, and so therefore the government should be the only people who administer it. Or maybe they think
a lot of times that's true. What you're saying is absolutely true, but a lot of times it's the proposal to legalize gambling that's the problem, for many people, as opposed to the legalizing of gambling.
I don't get what you're saying, but I want you to explain it here in a moment. Want to also get to your calls and thoughts. If you care about your privacy while you're on the internet, you need ProXPN. It's a virtual private network that encrypts your online data before it reaches your internet service provider, and ProXPN does it right, offering OpenVPN, which is the gold standard of network encryption. They have apps for Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, and there's Linux support as well. Plus, unlike those other guys, ProXPN keeps no logs of your activities whatsoever. Now, ProXPN has more servers than before, giving you greater speed and security, and they'll accept credit card and even Bitcoin. You can get 50% off the regular monthly price for the lifetime of the account when you buy an annual account with our code FTL50. That's FTL like Free Talk Live, and 50 like 50% off. That brings the price down to about the price of a good cup of coffee, or maybe even less. You keep hearing about our online privacy being infringed. Go to proxpn.com now and use code FTL50 to take back the privacy that is your right. Doug is listening in Illinois, where this is all happening, at least this version of the government not doing what they've promised to do, and that is to pay out Lotto winnings to people who've won more than $25,000. That's just not happening until some sort of budget impasse is solved. So that's the situation. Doug, your thoughts. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to try to come back to the people to get more money like they do all the time.
Didn't they already raise the income tax there a few years ago?
Yeah, they did. I mean, we are really, really in a lot of trouble here in Illinois. We are 50th in the nation in our pension obligation. We're 50th in the nation in our debt. They borrowed money to the point dating all the way back to 1989 that they no longer have a good bond rating anymore. To give you an idea, like we have a home valued at $155,000. Our property bill had been $5,900 for our property.
Oh my God, that's even worse than New England.
Yeah, way more. And okay, we were trying to cut back on what we're paying. We went over to Vonage for our home phone. We want to keep our home phone. We were quoted for Vonage for $9.95 a month. But when you add in the Illinois fee, our town fee, you have it become $19.95 a month.
Jeez.
We have to buy a decal for our car every year here in the town, $39.95 every year. We get
what's that for? Parking or for throwing away your garbage?
For you have to have it on your car. Generally, every local government in Illinois, they have them, where you have to buy a decal, you have to have it in the window of your car.
What's the sticker for?
Hold on. Just to clarify, is that a different sticker than the one that typically appears on a license plate?
Correct. You have to buy that one, too, but you have to buy one from your local government.
I need a little help here, okay?
This is for, Mark, to keep you from being arrested. This is what it's for.
I want to make sure.
They will. They will. Okay, and in addition, for our heating, our NICOR bill.
Whoa. I'm not done with the sticker yet.
Okay, all right.
I got to find out about this sticker. So the sticker is simply a sticker that indicates that you live in that town.
Right, with a date on it and a number, unique number to your vehicle and the date on it. And if they find out that you're parking, if you go up to Jewel shopping or you go grocery shopping or, and they look at your car and they're driving by and you don't have the up-to-date decal in the bottom right-hand part of the window, you're going to get a major ticket.
That is insane. Now, it makes no sense at all. What if you're from one of those towns that in Illinois that doesn't have a sticker?
They all have them, though.
He said almost all of them did.
There are very few, particularly in Cook County and the Chicago metropolitan area. They all do it now. I mean, we pay for NICOR for our heating. We pay a fee to the town, and we pay to Illinois for our electric, our ComEd bill. We pay a fee. And, I'm not talking like chump change here. I'm talking like, anywhere from, $8.99 to $12.99 per month, for the electric and the NICOR combined.
And the income tax, and the state income tax there, if I'm recalling correctly, it went up by 66% or something like that. Just like 3 or 4 years ago? It wasn't that long ago. They were desperate for more money, and they literally now the income tax there is like 3 or 4% or something like that. Is it 4% and went up like, I don't know, what is it? What's the actual percentage? Do you know?
I'm not sure on that. I'm not sure. I mean, they keep going over or going up on everything.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you never have it end. And they're not efficient with the money. If you're a local government in Illinois, I watch it here all over. I mean, if you're a cop or you're a department head in a town, you get to drive your government-owned vehicle wherever you want. You get to take it, the family out to dinner. Well, who do you have paying for the wear and tear in that vehicle? Who do you have paying to maintain it? And they look at that being a perk. Down at the Capitol, they redid the Capitol for $93 million, $250,000 for a chandelier, $500 million for the Obama Library. Government, they're not efficient. They're not good with the money, and I can't wait to get the hell out of here.
That was going to be my next question: is why you continue to put up with it? I mean, obviously, it's not going to get any better.
Oh, I am, man. I'm gonna, in my bonfire in the back, I'm lighting up the Illinois flag, the Chicago flag, and I'm getting in a moving truck, and I'm out of here.
Chicago has a flag?
Yeah, they have. Oh yeah, they worship it.
Well,
like people in Chicago. The thing with people in Chicago, they take a lot of pride of being in Chicago, but they're an inefficient dump. Can really be what they are. Okay, you have people murdered. Chicago can be for people who can't hack it in the Big Apple, New York. That can be why people live in Chicago. They can't hack it in New York, and therefore they live in Chicago. They want to be like New York. They're a New York wannabe. But I mean, they're totally inefficient. I don't think
Chicago,
white people love it there.
I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you live in Chicago, but does Chicago, the city, have a city income tax too? Because New York City's got that.
Yeah, they do. And now they've actually enacted Mayor Emanuel here. You know, like Hulu and everything.
Yeah,
and, you know,
yeah, that's right. They're taxing that.
They're going to go after that now too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because it's easy for them to go after the cable companies because the cable companies have a physical building that they serve people from in the general vicinity of each town. So it's easy to target them and get money out of them. But to target Netflix and Hulu is a little more of a complicated matter because they are likely not located there.
I mean, parking can be incredible. You know, I mean, when Mayor Daley did the whole parking meter deal here, he ended up letting a private company take over, but the deal really didn't end up being that good for the fact that a lot of people thought that maybe Mayor Daley and the particular private parking company kind of knew each other. You know what I mean? There had been kind of
of course they did.
and you know, it ain't unusual to pay $9.95, you know, to park in downtown per hour. You know, I mean, you really get taken parking down there.
Jeez.
Well, good luck on getting out of there, Doug. Thanks for your call. Really informative. I appreciate hearing from you. It was a perfect addition to what we started talking about, which is the idea that the state government in Illinois is now not paying Lotto winners, people who've won more than $25,000 until further notice. They'll give you an IOU.
You know, it's I know some people stay up there because they believe the work's better and, you know, the earnings better. But, man, with all those taxes and all those fees in Chicagoland, I can't believe you can make more money there than you could in, like, Texas or Florida or Arizona or something.
Those property taxes that he mentioned are higher than New Hampshire, and New Hampshire's only got the property tax for the most part. It's Free Talk Live. Share your thoughts.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit, then carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Ted Anderson, I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Healthy, organic, fresh fish, robust, mouth-watering vegetables, all from your home. It's called aquaponics. This brilliant, self-sustaining protein and veggie system is perfect for year-round growing. Know exactly where your food is coming from. Aquaponicssource.com is the one-stop shop for all your needs. Fish, fish food, plumbing, full systems, classes, and more. Learn to build your own system. Go to aquaponicssource.com for a free guide to aquaponics. That's aquaponicssource.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Why do over 50% of North Americans suffer from some form of chronic ailment? Could it be due to a toxic overload? It's time to take back your life. Get the lead out as well as the cadmium, mercury, and calcium. Extendovite is a garlic cayenne supplement with 5 other herbs that acts like a natural Drano, cleaning out the stored toxins, restoring your energy and youthfulness that we've lost. If you would like to live your life free of sickness, pain, or fear, then Extendovite is for you. Available in either capsules or liquid, you too can see why Extendovite is the #1 heart drop available. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
You are an individual with your own thoughts, decisions, and actions. So why should you be penalized for not enrolling in the subpar health insurance mandated by the government? Be truly independent. Visit libertyoncall.org. LibertyOnCall.org is a bold, innovative alternative allowing you to take back control and make your own decisions about your health care. Mention this ad when you call to learn more. 800-714-6993. That's 800-714-6993. LibertyOnCall.org. Call today.
The Genesis Communications Network is one of America's premier broadcasters of captivating talk radio. We thank you for listening. Now, just imagine, there are thousands of people who are just as passionate about radio as you are. But what you may not realize is how easy and affordable it is to advertise with us. Radio commercials for your business could be heard on hundreds of radio stations across the U.S. every day. We can help you by creating an effective radio advertising campaign for your company. From script writing to producing your commercial, just like the one you're listening to right now. No other network provides the level of customer service we do. When it comes to radio advertising, we are your one-stop shop. And no matter how big or small your business is, we can help. Email us at advertise@gcnlive.com, and an experienced advertising executive will help you take the first step towards driving more customers to your business or website. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
This is Free Talk Live. Call in toll free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
This is Free Talk Live. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And you can join us online. You can call into the show via Skype. Skype username here is lrn.fm. So feel free to reach out to us that way if you don't mind. In fact, if you don't mind, you will sound better on Skype most of the time, probably 99% of the time. 95% of the time, you'll sound better on Skype. With you in studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
So we were talking about Illinois and the crackdown on freedom. I mean, these poor people. We had a guy call in just a moment ago, just rattling off what was, I'm sure, a truncated partial list of the taxes that they pay there in Illinois. $5,900 on a $150,000 or $160,000 house for property taxes. That's more than I've paid for property tax here in New Hampshire. And the big problem, one of the problems with New Hampshire is that the property tax is high here.
Yep.
But that's to make up for the fact that New Hampshire doesn't have a sales tax. New Hampshire doesn't have a personal state income tax, both of which Illinois absolutely has.
Yeah, when you compare New Hampshire to surrounding states, you'll see a lower tax burden.
To all states, from what I understand.
So coming from Florida, I'm spoiled. If you'll recall what taxes were like in Florida, I remember paying something like $1,400 a year.
Property taxes were much lower in Florida.
Yep.
That's true.
And you paid 6, 7, 8% on plastic crap you bought from Walmart. But sales tax isn't that much when you sort of ring it up throughout the year and you don't count cars. I mean, that's an issue. I don't think I ever paid sales tax on a car because I always bought it from an individual. And if I did pay, I paid some lower version of it to the government.
I could have sworn that New Hampshire has the overall lowest tax burden.
It has the lowest tax burden per person.
Yeah.
But that is a qualified statement. It is the lowest tax burden per person. It is not the lowest tax burden paid per person. And in Florida, Yankees come down throughout the year and people from foreign places come over and they spend lots of money through hotel taxes and meals taxes and a variety of other taxes, lowering the tax paid per person, not the tax amount, not the budget then that's amortized out to each person. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. You're saying that even people who don't pay taxes are factored into the per person?
No. What I'm saying is that New Hampshire has X number of people, and its government costs X number of dollars. It is a pretty accurate number since New Hampshire doesn't have that many tourists, that everybody who lives in New Hampshire is going to pay about that state budget. Whereas in Florida, since so many people come to Florida to visit and spend their money at hotels,
so what you're saying is
and
the
businesses,
people who are visiting aren't factored into the per person division?
They are factored. They aren't factored into that per person division because the people who are visiting pay a great deal of the taxes that are then not put on the per person.
Got it.
So if you want to pay low taxes, I really do believe that Florida is one of the best places to go.
Huh. Well, I don't agree with you. Florida is a terrible place to go. It's full of statists from places like New York and New Jersey who are making Florida an absolute terrible place to live if you care about freedom. And taxes are not the only. Well, you're right, Mark. It may be fairly low taxed for people that are living there. There are a lot of other problems with Florida.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I left Florida because I didn't feel like there was any hope for liberty there. Right. When I had moved here, what I found here in New Hampshire for the Free State Project was that there are people who are working towards the ideas of liberty, which I value, and it lifted a burden off of my soul that had existed for some time, this feeling that there was nothing that could be done, that the government was going to grow and there was nothing I could do about it. Mm-hmm. And humans don't do well with that, right? Like
losing hope?
Yeah, the loss of hope. And so I'm happier here. Life is better here. I just wish that for whatever reason people wanted to come and spend a bunch of money through the hotel and service taxes, so we didn't have quite the tax burden.
Well, I think that we need to have taxes reduced for other reasons because those people are still supporting a huge government in Florida. Keep that in mind.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, dollar for dollar, the government in Florida is a lot larger than the government in New Hampshire. There are fewer regulations in New Hampshire. There are, fewer taxes overall in general in New Hampshire, and it's just a more free place. That's why it does very well on the Mercatus Center's top 50 states. They look at the various different freedoms in those places. Florida, not a free place. It's mid-pack. It's like, 17 to 25 or something like that.
It's mid-pack. There's no doubt about it.
On that ranking. So ultimately, just
it probably does as well as New Hampshire on business environment, though. New Hampshire's mid-pack on business environment, sadly.
That's true. It needs to get better. And it will, because we've got freedom-loving people moving here as part of the Free State Project who are actually getting elected, unlike libertarians everywhere else, and they're actually doing things to repeal bad laws and stop new laws from being put into place. And as we get more people elected here as part of the Free State Project, we'll see even more progress. And I think you'll see a reduction in the state government's size, Mark, rather than just coming up with new tourist taxes to offset the existing taxes.
Well,
that's
not my solution. That's not my solution to things, Ian. My solution is that everything be privatized, but I wonder whether that's even possible.
I don't like privatization. The problem with privatization is it really usually involves one company being given a government contract for a monopoly. I'd like to see the free market being able to handle these services.
That's what I mean, that the free market would handle these services, that the government is a service organization, and service organizations should either be able to compete against other service organizations or they should not exist at all.
Right.
So the government claiming a monopoly in any given area is probably not the best thing. But I think that there's going to be some bumps along the way because statism harms people, and it's going to be difficult to pry the tentacles of government bureaucrats off of the coffers of the state.
Yeah,
it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, even here in New Hampshire, where the government is relatively small compared to other governments. So if you're out there and you're toiling away in a place like Illinois, California, New York, and you're just sick and tired of being regulated to death, taxed to death, and you love freedom, because there are some people that don't like taxes, but they also don't really care about freedom.
Right. Most people don't like taxes.
Yeah.
But really it comes down to why you don't like taxes.
Yeah. If you truly love liberty, that is, you understand that in order to be free, you have to allow others to be free, that freedom means your right to live your life how you want, so long as you don't harm another person, so long as you don't use aggressive force against other human beings. If you get that, then you are welcome in the Free State Project. You should go to freestateproject.org. You can learn a lot more about it there and get signed up. We're looking to get 20,000 people to sign up and pledge to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Now, that's what we've done. We've moved early. We didn't want to wait until the 20,000. I'm glad we didn't wait because it's been a lot of fun so far. And we're getting there. I mean, within the next probably 2 years, we're going to hit that 20,000 number. We're over 17,000 right now. And over 1,800 of those 17,000 are here. So we've already got more than 10% here as what are so-called early movers for the Free State Project. If you find this interesting, if you think this is intriguing, and you love freedom, you really owe it to yourself to take a look at this. Maybe you've heard us talking about it before, but you haven't taken the time to go and investigate it for yourself. Do that at freestateproject.org. As we go to Tom in New Hampshire, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Yeah, I lamented Friday that the cop that gunned down Jonathan Farrell isn't going to go to prison. And more recently, the sheriff in Harris County, Texas, where Houston is located, that sheriff is linking some of that Black Lives Matter rhetoric to the slaying a couple hours after I got off the phone with you of a deputy sheriff in Harris County. Somebody just walked up while the cop was refueling a patrol car and gunned down the cop.
Yeah, I heard about this.
Yeah. Now, and the sheriff is furious about all this loose talk about Black Lives Matter, and how that may have motivated the guy to do that. And all I can say is what Daniel Webster said: there is nothing so powerful as truth. And one thing the cops hate is the truth. The truth of the matter is the cops are in a police state. The police are the enemy.
Thanks for the call, Tom. I don't support using violence to solve our problems in life, however. I can understand why people are angry at the police, though. 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
For P150, P150GA, P150OK, P150TN, C250A, C250E, C250Q. Not available in all states.
What's the scariest thing about going to the dentist? Opening your mouth or opening your wallet? Because just a simple cleaning can cost $100, and things like root canals can cost you hundreds more. If you don't have dental insurance to help, call Physicians Mutual Insurance Company, 1-800-809-5580. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance that helps pay for checkups right away, so you can call today and get your teeth cleaned tomorrow. Plus, it helps cover the more expensive procedures you might need down the road: fillings, crowns, bridges, even costly dentures. There's no deductible and no annual maximum. Your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired. There are no networks, so you can choose any dentist you'd like. Call in the next 10 minutes and we'll rush you a free information kit with all the details. 1-800-809-5580. That's 1-800-809-5580. 1-800-809-5580.
We use mobile devices right against our bodies every day, but growing scientific evidence has emerged showing serious health risks associated with exposure to EMF radiation emitted from these devices. The solution is Defender Shield, the most effective mobile radiation shielding ever developed. Defender Shield blocks virtually 100% of EMF radiation from cell phones, tablets, and laptops, and starts at just $64.99. Buy now at DefenderShield.com. For 10% off, use promo code GCN. DefenderShield.com, the worldwide leader in mobile radiation shielding.
No way. Is that a real bullet necklace?
No, it's a 9mm bullet necklace with matching earrings, you'll notice.
Those are awesome. Where'd you get them?
Dave found them at PatriotNecklace.com.
Wow.
They have a variety of calibers and necklaces and earrings and keychains.
PatriotNecklace.com?
PatriotNecklace.com.
Your choice of caliber bullet includes a rugged American-made stainless steel dog tag chain. A percentage of every sale goes to military and service-related charities. And get a discount by entering GCN at checkout. Show your patriotism and support our troops with a bullet necklace from PatriotNecklace.com.
KDArmor.com is your one-stop shop for the most affordable body armor, period. With packages starting at $169.99 and free shipping on every order. KD offers soft armor and rifle threat rated armor up to level 4. Go to KDArmor.com and get your body armor today while you still can. Mention this ad and receive a free tactical scarf for a limited time with any body armor package. That's CATIarmor.com. Come and take it.
Making the right decisions is a challenge to investors. Are we going to see economic growth, slide into a recession, or at worst, depression? Hi, Ted Anderson from Midas Resources. We all know when a company acts irresponsibly, divesting ourselves in a move towards safety is prudent. When the market becomes volatile, U.S. Treasuries are a safe haven. But what do you do when the U.S. government overextends itself and spends beyond its means? Many investors are turning toward gold as a common-sense alternative to traditional paper investments. Midas Resources has put together a powerful book titled 10 Reasons to Own Gold, discussing costs, benefits, risks, featuring full-color illustrations, weights, and measures. The book is free and can be yours by calling 800-686-2237. Paper investments are dwarfed by gold's 6,000-year history. Discover how gold may be right for you and your IRA by calling 800-686-2237. Whether buying or it's time for you to sell, the book is free. Call 800-686-2237.
The human body is more than 60% water. Your brain and muscles are 75% water. And your blood is 92% water. Water's vital to your body, and alkalizing your water is the key to keep it running at its best. AlkaVision Plasma pH drops keep your entire body healthy, boosts energy, promotes weight loss, and even fights cancer. Call 800-518-7615 or go to alkavision.com to find out more. That's alkavision.com.
You're listening to Free Talk Live. Call in toll free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free to join the show, to bring up anything that happens to be on your mind. You don't have to talk about the Lotto or Illinois' terrible taxes, although that's certainly still on the table. Everything's always on the table here at Free Talk Live. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Or maybe you want to call and rattle off some of the absurd taxes that people just won't believe. Mark, you were shocked when a gentleman called earlier to say there is an additional sticker on the backs of most cars in Illinois due to a special town car tax that is different from the state plate tax or whatever. Right. Normally you've got a sticker on your plate. Well, there's another sticker that you got to have if you don't want to get pulled over in Illinois.
It's fascinating to me how they couldn't incorporate whatever fee they want to charge you for living in their town, for having a car and living in their town, into the registration sticker that they put on the back of a license plate.
Well, now, don't they do that here in New Hampshire where they've got the inspection sticker?
They have an inspection sticker, but an inspection sticker is a bit different. It brings money directly to the state.
We should have asked if they've got one of those in Illinois too.
And it isn't even that much. It's like $5 or $10 goes to the state or whatever, and the rest goes to the the shop.
But
that
boy,
does the
do they
inspection.
Pull people over for those, man.
Sure they do.
They'll sit on the side of the road. Yeah, they'll sit on the side of the road and eyeball people's front windshield.
It's ludicrous because, Florida got rid of its registration in about 1980. Now, you would think you would see...
It's registration or inspection?
I'm sorry, inspection. It's a vehicle inspection in about 1980.
Interesting.
I remember when I remember the stickers, what they look like on the windshield of my mother's Oldsmobile Cutlass with the cabrio top. Back in the day, it was metallic rust red, and they were all over the place, but they got rid of them. And you would think that the idea would be, if you listen to these inspection advocates who aren't just transparently out there advocating for auto shop owners. If you listen to them, you might think that the roads of a state that doesn't have an inspection would be littered with broken down cars. And I've lived here and I've lived there, and I gotta say, the cars up here are crappier than the ones in Sarasota, Florida.
With the inspections.
The cars with the inspections are crappier than the ones that aren't. Now
isn't that because of the rust? Why is that?
They just don't. They're driving crappier cars because in Sarasota, registration on a $500,000 Ferrari is the same as registration on my 70. Well, actually, the old cars. A regular. On a Datsun, right, or a Corolla, it wouldn't make a difference. They're the same cost. Whereas up here, they charge you every single year a nice car tax
based on the value of the car.
on the value of the vehicle. So people drive.
You're disincentivized from upgrading a car.
Right. So in Sarasota, Florida, which does have I would imagine more savings per individual or whatever, a higher net worth per individual
in
Sarasota.
So?
Just a guess.
But just in Sarasota, because I've heard New Hampshire's got a high percentage of millionaires here.
That may very well be the case. I'm just guessing that people want to live in Sarasota, which has the nicest beach sand in the world, or something like that. It's just me guessing.
Yeah, but millionaires
there's a
who know,
lot more
who know what they're doing want to live in New Hampshire because of less taxes.
There's a lot more Lexi and Infinities and high-end automobiles
There's
in
more
Sarasota.
visible wealth up there. I think the millionaires here are smart, down there. I think the millionaires in New Hampshire are smart enough to keep it to themselves.
Well, a millionaire is a person who has enough money to retire. A millionaire is not a wealthy individual any longer. The dollar's been pretty severely devalued.
Well, I mean, I see where you're coming from, but try telling that to somebody who makes $20,000 a year. I mean, that person's going to consider a millionaire to be pretty damn wealthy.
That
right?
person's just going to go ahead and pay the state for their inspection. They're going to pay more in registration in New Hampshire. They're going to do a variety of things. So, whatever.
Anyway, the toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. The New Hampshire government, it's got its issues, but that's why we're here as part of the Free State Project, to make things better. And I think it's great. I've really enjoyed being here thus far, and we've gotten more people moving in all the time. There's a new mover coming in here to Keene this week, as a matter of fact. And there's this new movers party that they're throwing every single month that is well attended. I've heard there are 27 new movers attending tomorrow's new movers party in Manchester. So it's like this big monthly party that they throw, and it's open to anybody who wants to attend. That's huge. That's like almost one person per day moving in the month of August.
That's a big deal.
That is a huge deal. There's no libertarian movement like this. There are a lot of wannabes. There are a lot of move here projects out there of people who are saying, hey, you should do that Free State Project here in Ohio or Arizona or wherever it is I happen to live.
I think that they're breaking down. There isn't a big one right now. There's the competition.
Liberland's a pretty big deal.
Liberland's a pretty big deal, but nobody lives in it.
That's true.
People are moving for the hope of living in it, and I think that Liberland's got a lot of things going for it that perhaps these others don't. But at this point, no one lives in Liberland, so I hope the best for them. But to some extent, it's probably better for somebody who lives in Europe, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's true. Apparently, I actually haven't heard anything about Liberland in the last few weeks, so that made me want to go and see what's going on.
As an aside, I saw posted on one of the founders of the Blue Ridge Liberty Project that he was starting a competing project to get people to move to the same place. So I don't know.
Hold on. There's now two projects trying to get people to move to Asheville, North Carolina?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, okay. Well, good for them.
So it sounds like there might have been
a schism?
Yeah, some kind of breakup of some sort that I'm not entirely aware of. But
well, that's what happens when your Liberty organization will get to larger than 15 people.
That's what happens when you have something that's placed around personalities rather than just concepts, right? Like,
that's
so
true.
If you've got the thing that I think really makes the Free State Project not work is that the founder of it, he's not exactly
he's not on the front. He's not on the forefront. He's not a visible player, really.
Right. He tried very hard early on, but it's not based around the amazing and inspiring personality of Jason Sorens. It's about people who...
He's fairly mild-mannered, actually.
Quite. And so, that's, I think, one of the things that really made it work early on and really made the difference. There are people who are more influential within the Free State Project because they put in more time and more energy than he is. And that should be the way it is.
Let's go to the phones to the fun. Bob, listening in Baltimore. You're on Free Talk Live. Hey, Bob.
Hey, guys.
Welcome, sir.
I like your show. I just discovered it.
Thanks. You're on the air.
Hello?
Yep, you're on the radio. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, I just discovered your show a month ago, and I like it.
Excellent.
I
Thank
heard you. What were you calling about tonight?
The taxes on the vehicles.
Yep. Tell me about it. You're on the radio. Go ahead.
I remember back in the late 90s here in Maryland, they put the cars on the dynamometer to test emissions.
Okay.
And it was a big thing because the governor was linked to the contractor that installed them for the state, and he got a big payoff.
Oh, yeah.
And
what a surprise.
Maybe 10 years later, it was they did away with it, and all that money just disappeared.
What all the money disappeared? What do you mean by that?
Well, they just did away with the machine. So where did all that money go that we've spent for the machines?
Oh,
You know what I
well,
mean?
it went into the manufacturer's pocket, obviously. But yeah, I see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, you're right about that, Bob. Thanks for the call tonight, man. I appreciate it. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And yeah, I mean, this is essentially, any kind of government program like that is basically a boondoggle that benefits somebody who's politically connected. In this case, whoever made those, what was it, dynamometers?
Dynamometers? I'm not familiar with them, but that doesn't change.
Something that analyzes exhaust,
yeah.
right?
Tests emissions or whatever. There was a situation with the TSA when they had, I think it was the millimeter wave machines, but don't quote me on that. I'm not entirely sure. But one of these,
one of those machines that didn't do what it was actually advertised to do.
One of the naked body scanners or whatever. The one that was supposed to give you cancer or whatever the people were concerned with. That one. Apparently, somebody in the administration had some, connection to the company that manufactured those. So what a surprise!
Surprise!
I mean, Congress went so far as to remove the rule that forbade them from participating in insider trading. I mean, they actually know they and their aides know what's going to come down the pipe. I mean, if you're going to say, okay, this thing or that thing is now going to be mandatory, that company's obviously going to do very well. If you know that company is going to get that contract beforehand, then bam, you are quite wealthy.
So our toll-free number here tonight, if you want to join us, is 855-450-FREE. It's not all about taxes tonight. In Missouri, there has been a walkout at a high school over a transgendered student using the girls' locker room. So this is a controversial issue, and I imagine we're going to hear more about that over time. We'll tell you a little bit about it coming up. Also, you can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, the Islamic State has decided to release a gold coin. This is actually happening. It's Free Talk Live. Hour 2's coming up.
Geico applauds your inner happy camper.
A merit badge of awesomeness goes out to the part of you that wants to put the recreation in recreational vehicle. The part of you that packs up everything and everybody in the RV and says, let's get this show on the road. Because Geico has specialized agents who help save money on more than just car insurance. Geico will insure that entire RV, so you can get the s'more making, poison ivy dodging, same song singing, ghost storytelling, campfire building, best time you ever had with your family show on the road.
Geico for your RV. See how much you could save.
Before girls' night out, my eczema flared up. Ugh, I felt like canceling. But then I tried Cortisone 10 Eczema Relief. It's specially formulated for eczema and has 1% hydrocortisone, the strongest non-prescription itch medicine for fast, lasting itch relief. It quickly stopped the itch and soothed my red, dry, flaky skin. With Cortisone 10 Eczema Relief, I was ready for girls' night out, and it was the best one ever.
Cortisone 10 Eczema Relief. Feel the heal. Use as directed.
Gold isn't for you? Ted Anderson, president of Midas Resources, one of the world's premier gold and precious metal investing firms. I get it. You wouldn't buy gold if you believed that the government is doing a great job, that the Fed will stop handing out trillions of dollars like bailout candy, that Social Security would be there for you. That's not what's happening. You might even pass on gold if the stimulus package wouldn't fuel inflation, or that the dollar wouldn't lose value, or that your retirement would be secure. If all looks rosy to you, then now is not the time to buy gold. For the realist, there have never been more sobering reasons to diversify with gold. Since 2001, the U.S. dollar index has tanked 30% while gold has risen 300%. Right now, savvy investors are adding gold to their portfolios. You should too. Find out what they know. Call us and I'll send you 10 reasons why gold will do very well, free. 800-686-2237. 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Empowering with information. The Chris Gio Show. GCN.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. A federal judge has ruled that a pro-life group does not have to provide contraceptives for its employees under the Obama administration's health care law. U.S. District Judge Richard Leon said the requirement was unconstitutional. Attorney Matt Bowman with the Alliance Defending Freedom agrees with the federal judge's ruling that the March for Life organization is exempt from the Obamacare requirements.
It doesn't make any sense for Obamacare to force pro-life organizations to cover items in their health insurance that they believe can destroy human life.
March for Life sued the Obama administration last year over the provision known as the contraceptive mandate. Texas authorities say they have no motive for what they're calling an unprovoked fatal attack on a uniformed sheriff's deputy who had been gassing up his vehicle. Harris County Sheriff's Deputy Darren Goforth was shot 15 times. Harris County District Attorney Devon Anderson says when officers arrived at the gas station, they found Deputy Goforth on the ground.
He'd clearly been shot multiple times with a firearm. He was dead when they arrived. They found 15 .40 caliber Aguila shell casings scattered around the body.
Capital murder charges have been filed against Shannon Miles. President Obama has arrived in Alaska for a 3-day tour, which is already marked by controversy.
During his tour of the largest state in the country this week, the president will be focused on climate change. He and his administration hope the visit will raise the sense of urgency of the issue. Even before the president left Washington, though, he sparked controversy with the decision to rename Alaska's famed Mount McKinley. It's a move denounced by lawmakers in Ohio, home to former President William McKinley. Greg Clugston, the White House.
On Wall Street, the Dow down by 115 points, the Nasdaq dropped 52, the S&P lower by 17, oil up to $49.20 a barrel. More on these stories at townhall.com.
For many people, noise is just a part of life. But there is one noise you shouldn't have to live with. It's the ringing in your ears associated with tinnitus, and sometimes it doesn't stop. Luckily, there is a new homeopathic medicine that can reduce the noises associated with tinnitus. It's called Quiet Assure, and it's guaranteed to help reduce the ringing, the buzzing, and the noises. Finally, there is Quiet Assure. Call right away for a risk-free trial of Quiet Assure. 1 in 5 people are suffering from tinnitus. Don't be one of them. Call now. Just call 1-800-326-1765. That's 1-800-326-1765. Quiet Assure is an all-natural homeopathic medicine. Get your risk-free trial. Just call 1-800-326-1765. That's 1-800-326-1765.
South Sudan's rebel leader has accused the government of violating a ceasefire hours after it came into effect.
Mr. Machar said the army had attacked his forces in the north of the country, with gunboats shelling rebel positions. At least 8 ceasefires have been agreed since the conflict began, and every one has broken down. The latest peace deal was signed with great reluctance by the South Sudanese president, Salva Kiir, who presented a 12-page list of reservations. There's intense international pressure on both sides, but neither seems willing to commit to peace.
BBC correspondent Mary Harper reporting. French and German leaders are reminding other European countries of their shared responsibility toward refugees, often fleeing Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan. An emergency meeting is set for September 14th on the migrant crisis, in which more than 300,000 people have crossed the Mediterranean this year. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. Bluebell Ice Cream is back.
Bluebell Creameries has resumed selling its products in select locations 4 months after the Texas-based retailer halted sales due to listeria contamination. Bluebell Ice Cream is currently available at stores in the Houston and Austin areas, including the company's hometown of Brenham, as well as parts of Alabama. The company voluntarily recalled its products in April after they were linked to 10 listeria cases in 4 states, including 3 deaths in Kansas.
Correspondent Jeremy House reporting. Production plants in Texas, Oklahoma, and Alabama underwent an extensive cleaning and decontamination under the regulatory oversight of health officials. Fiat Chrysler is recalling 206,668 Jeep Cherokee SUVs because the windshield wipers can stop working unexpectedly. Most of the vehicles from the 2014 model year are in the U.S., but about 20,000 are in Canada and Mexico. More stories at townhall.com.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS?
Get on board with the Tax Admiral. Don't pick on the IRS alone. I'll cut penalties and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely.
We're an A-rated company helping people clean up their mess with the IRS.
If you owe $10,000 or more, then call the Tax Admiral.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us on the radio waves at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
All right. So, Mark, you'd asked the other day when we were talking about the Islamic State and the U.S. government and, all the interactions between them and such. What was it that the Islamic State has done that is a good thing, is what you asked, or something to that effect.
Right. I think that
because there have been, decapitating people and murdering and having children commit murders and pretty bad stuff.
Yeah, they're pretty awful folks. And but I believe that you can, when you look at organizations like states, which are, in my mind, antiquated ways of organizing people. There are some that are better and some that are worse. And I don't like the show to sound like, I hate America and anything that ain't America is better. Now, because, people will compare states, right? Like they'll say, you don't like it here, move someplace else. Well, when I critique the U.S. government, I critique it because I was born here. They claim me as one of their citizens, and they force me to pay their taxes on some things and that sort of thing. So I critique them because I have a bigger voice when it comes to critiquing the U.S. If I was to move to North Korea and begin complaining about their government, I likely wouldn't live long.
That's true.
And, I already complain about the North Korean government, but I'm just using them as an example. To me, what the problem is an organization that claims a monopoly on a given landmass and says that, this is where we rule. And that's an old, antiquated idea from the sort of master-servant paradigm. So the Islamic State is a new state, but they're a particularly distasteful one. To my mind, many of the videos I've seen shown me just plenty that they stink. So, yeah, I want to know, what is one thing that the Islamic State has done that is great?
Well, I would say this is a good thing. I don't know if it's great, but I'm going to give them credit where credit is due. Now, I don't like any state. I just like to preface this conversation. I think they're all criminal gangs, and their criminality just is expressed in slightly different ways. So, the criminality of the U.S. government is much better covered up than it is in, let's say, North Korea, for instance, or Venezuela. The governments are, in my opinion, as corrupt as one another. It's just that the corruption manifests itself in a different fashion. Like in the U.S., they're more subtle about their corruption. They're smarter.
They couldn't get away with it otherwise, right?
Yeah.
Like, the U.S. government couldn't go from where it is today to Venezuela's level in the course of a month because people would rise up. But it's like that frog being boiled in water analogy, that if you turn it up a little bit each time, the frog doesn't bother jumping out, and then they're boiled.
Right. So the Islamic State is a state, and so I got no love for them, but they certainly seem to understand money. And according to Vice News, the self-styled Islamic State claims it is now minting its own gold coins and other currency, according to a lengthy propaganda video released Saturday by the militant group. I watched the first 5 minutes of the video and actually bookmarked it because I would like to watch the whole thing because it's really well done. The editing is fantastic.
That's another thing that you mentioned that they do well is that
video work.
There's some good video work.
Yeah, their propaganda wing is, they're pretty good at what they do. Entitled "The Rise of the," and please forgive me, I'm going to butcher this word, Khilafah and the Return of the Gold Dinar. The documentary-style video features an English-speaking narrator.
So is it the Caliphate?
No.
Okay.
It's not spelled like that. Khilafah. Khilafah. Anyway, the English-speaking narrator says the ISIS currency will be made up of gold, silver, and copper coins. The narrator calls gold the only true measure of wealth. In the video, which goes on for nearly an hour, the narrator explains that the new currency is aimed at strengthening the group's self-proclaimed caliphate and harming the U.S. economy. It says the new currency will deliver a second blow to the United States and its so-called capitalist financial system of enslavement after 9/11, including plenty of World Trade Center footage.
Well, I've always wondered what it would be like if a government began issuing a gold-backed currency. How would that look? Now, there's a conspiracy theory out there that essentially all the wars that have been fought in the last couple decades have been fought because those governments were trying to decouple themselves from the U.S.'s petrodollar, whatever the claim is exactly. And so I'm not claiming that is true, and I'm not claiming it is false. I simply don't know what the reasons are behind. Every reason is behind wars that are out there. But I would be interested to see what happens. It's just that I don't really consider the Islamic State to be a real government. And I'm using my air quotes here.
Why not? They're calling themselves a state. They're using violence to get their way. I mean, by all definitions, they're a state.
Because by this definition, when I'm using the real government definition, I think you have to be sort of recognized by other governments.
Why? Everybody has to start somewhere if they're going to create a state.
I'm talking about in the area of a gold-backed currency being sort of interesting in how it works
So are you saying that if North Korea recognizes the Islamic State, that all of a sudden you'll consider them to be a real state?
No, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if you claim yourself to be a government and you begin issuing gold coins, it will be no different than the Liberty Dollar claiming to be a government.
No, there's a difference. I would not be using violence, so therefore I would not claim to be a government. If I did claim to be a government, I would start using violence on people, but I'm not that kind of person, so I wouldn't do that.
Right. I'm saying that if an organization that isn't Ian, because Ian wouldn't do that.
That is using violence, aggressive violence
No,
against
an
people?
organization simply claims to be a government.
Well, then you're not a state if you're not using violence and the threat of violence against people.
If I am the king,
You've got a club.
I'm the intergalactic ruler of everything. If I start issuing gold coins with my picture on them, it is not going to change world financial markets in any way, shape, or form. However, if a real government, and I'm going to give you a list of them, the United States, Russia, England, Sweden,
what makes
Egypt.
them a real government versus the Islamic State? The fact they've been around for a long time, or there's one other government that recognizes them?
It's a significant amount of agreement.
Oh, so now it's significant. So if North Korea recognized the Islamic State, that wouldn't be good enough for you?
No, it wouldn't.
Okay, so how many governments have to recognize another government before
You want
it's
an arbitrary
legitimate?
number?
Well, that's what you're going to come up with, because that's all you can come up with. 3/4.
All I'm saying is...
So therefore, Liberland is not a legitimate government in your mind then either, right?
I'm sure Liberland may very well, in the next few months, begin issuing gold-backed currency, and I think that would be awesome. However, it is not going to be interesting in a world economic system. It's not going to change anything. If, however, let's just go ahead and say Sweden begins backing it can't because it's got the euro. So you're going to have
it's not going to change anything. It's not going to change anything if Venezuela issues a new currency next month either. Nobody would care about it.
It would be interesting if it was gold backed.
Because that's not going to happen.
Well, it's not because they probably don't have it. They've already depleted their stores. But if they had a gold-backed currency, yes, it would be very interesting because people would begin to buy it. Speculators and investors would begin to buy it, and I'm just kind of curious as to what that would look like.
Okay, I'm just curious to understand why it is that a new country doesn't get any respect from you, Mark. I mean,
that's not what I'm saying. I've said every single time that I've said it that it would be interesting if a real country goes ahead and issues a gold-backed currency because of what it would do. I
understand what you're saying there. I was talking about ISIS, which is calling itself a state, but now you're saying in order for something to be considered a state in your mind, they have to have 3/4 of all the rest of the world's states signing on board with it, and I think that's ridiculous. I mean,
No, Ian. That's not what I'm saying.
That's not what you said.
No,
Okay.
it isn't. If that's what I said,
What was the three-quarters
I
number
deeply
then?
and thoroughly apologize
what was
to
the
you.
three-quarters number
Please
about?
try listening to what I have to
Yeah,
say.
I am.
I am very interested if a real country, and I'm using air quotes when I say real country, I'm very interested in what it would be like if a real country issued a gold-backed currency as to what it would do in world markets.
I heard that. That's not about what I'm asking you about. I'm asking you about why you don't consider a small state that has just formed to be as legitimate as any other state. Why the opinions of other gangs with guns matters to you.
It's not just other people.
855-450 free.
Are you suffering with hearing loss? Are you sick of people constantly complaining that your TV is too loud? Are you tired of asking people to speak up? Would you like to hear more clearly, but you don't want to wear a hearing aid that makes you look old? Then you need to try Listen Clear, a life-changing breakthrough precisely designed by top audio engineers to fit your ear almost invisibly. And you can adjust Listen Clear to find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And right now you can try Listen Clear absolutely risk-free with free shipping. We'll even give you free batteries for life. So call now, 1-800-719-9349. Listen Clear is lightweight and completely hassle-free, and it's practically invisible. Call for your 100% risk-free home trial with free shipping and free batteries for life. For free information, call now, 1-800-719-9349. That's 1-800-719-9349. 1-800-719-9349.
That's the sound your brain makes when you realize you're buying something and forgot the coupon. Online or in a store, knowing that you're missing a deal is the worst. You need the app from Retail Me Not right now. Get thousands of coupons from 50,000 stores like Kohl's, Domino's, Best Buy, and more with crazy deals like 60% off, free shipping, and free gifts with purchase. You can get a text invite to download the Retail Me Not app 100% free right now for Apple or Android. Just text the code UPDATE to 42767. Then just show your phone at checkout to save. It literally couldn't be easier. It's 2015. Keep your coupons in your phone. Stop what you're doing and text UPDATE to 42767. Listeners will get a text with a link to download it 100% free. Never forget another coupon again. Text the code UPDATE to 42767 right now. That's UPDATE to 42767. Message and data rates may apply. For terms and privacy, visit retailmenot.com.
You are an individual with your own thoughts, decisions, and actions. So why should you be penalized for not enrolling in the subpar health insurance mandated by the government? Be truly independent. Visit libertyoncall.org. LibertyOnCall.org is a bold, innovative alternative allowing you to take back control and make your own decisions about your health care. Mention this ad when you call to learn more. 800-714-6993. That's 800-714-6993. LibertyOnCall.org. Call today.
On the average, Americans work between 45 to 50 years, hoping to build up enough wealth to retire and live out their golden years. Unfortunately, with taxation, the rising cost of food, energy, housing, and medical, many retirees are forced to live below the poverty line. Is this a flaw free enterprise, or is our monetary unit we call the Federal Reserve Note forcing us into perpetual debt, ensuring inflation and higher taxes? These questions and more can be answered by reading G. Edward Griffin's book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. Congressman Ron Paul states it's what every American needs to know about central bank power. A gripping adventure into the secret world of international banking cartel. Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I will give a silver dollar from the early 1900s to anyone who purchases this book. Call 1-800-686-2237 and order a copy today. It's critical that the public be made aware of the system. Call and order your copy today at 1-800-686-2237. That's 1-800-686-2237.
KDArmor.com is your one-stop shop for the most affordable body armor, period. With packages starting at $169.99 and free shipping on every order. KD offers soft armor and rifle threat rated armor up to level 4. Go to KDArmor.com and get your body armor today while you still can. Mention this ad and receive a free tactical scarf for a limited time with any body armor package. That's CATIarmor.com. Come and take it.
Now, more Free Talk Live. Call in toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
Free Talk Live. Join us on the radio waves. Toll free, 855-450-FREE. ISIS has released their promised gold coin. Actually, they say they're going to be doing silver and copper as well, which, you know, there are a lot of people in the liberty community who have a real appreciation for this kind of thing.
Libertarians love metal.
Yeah, hard metal currency is a big deal for folks because it's a way to protect yourself from the ravages of inflation. And of course, inflation is not a rise in prices. A rise in prices is a symptom of inflation. Inflation is an increase in the money supply, which is where the government, whether it's the U.S. government, the Chinese government, or Venezuela or Zimbabwe, is where they print more money out. And so the extra amount of money in circulation chases the same amount of goods, so therefore the prices go up. That's what inflation is. It's an increase in the money supply that can result typically in an increase in prices. Having your money as silver and gold makes you protected from that, because the silver and gold can't just be printed by governments of the world. You have to mine more of it into existence in order to have more of that. Whereas with paper currencies, as we've seen, eventually none of them last. That's because the politicians who are putting these paper currencies together, the whole reason they went to paper currency like this in the first place is because it was easier to debase people. You know, the governments of the world used to clip coins. They'd clip the edges off of the coins and melt them down and make new coins from them. And that was one way of screwing the people over, but it was actually pretty easy to tell if that was happening. Whereas when the government just prints money, it's hard to know exactly the damage, the sort of the financial fallout that's going to come from that. You don't really, you don't see your dollar getting shorter and shorter over time, but you can certainly see the effects of it with prices rising at the grocery store and gas pump. One
thing about a value-backed currency that's issued by a state is that you can, very few people within that government can lie about sort of fractional reserve banking. So let's say that the United States government is now going to back all of its dollars by gold. Well, and it's going to have 1 gram of gold per dollar in its stores. So, if it's got 1 billion grams of gold, then, it can issue $1 billion, right? Well, what if it issues $2 billion? Who's going to know? How many people do they have to – because your conspiracy has to have a small amount of people that can keep a secret. Mm-hmm. How many people are going to know how many – they're going to move the gold's going to be out in different banks, different places. So no one's going to know exactly how much is where. And it could take a small amount of people could just essentially lie.
They will.
Yeah, and they will because they're governments.
So there's a video out called The Rise of the Khalifa and the Return of the Gold Dinar. It's a documentary-style production. It goes on for about an hour and very well produced. I watched the first 5 minutes of it. The new currency they claim that they're issuing, which will be gold, silver, and copper coins, will deliver a second blow to the United States and its capitalist financial system of enslavement, they claim. Speaking about the American bond market and how it relates to oil sales, the narrator calls the system the Achilles heel of the U.S. economy. Quote, "When struck, it will mark the death of this oppressive banknote and bring America, the symbol of injustice and tyranny, to her knees," he says. The new IS coins will be purportedly minted from precious metals that are made from measures of wealth that Allah created. The narrator says that as the ISIS currency surges into the financial sphere, it will cast the fraudulent dollar note into ruins, which is a nice thing to say, but I tend to agree with you, Mark, that it's likely not going to have the impact that they're hoping it will have, probably because they wouldn't be able to keep up with the demand. I mean, if they really are intending on flooding the world with gold coins, then there will probably be
somebody's already done that, right? Like people already mint gold coins.
That's true.
And the organizations mint gold coins, and I suspect that their dinar will have about as much effect
as those other gold coins
on the U.S. dollar as those coins have had,
which
up to
is
this
not
point.
Very much.
Which is to say, it will be negligible.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
I'm amused by their rhetoric because I tend to agree with their rhetoric regarding sort of fiat currencies.
Yep.
And I do believe if you had, I'm going to go back to this again, a real country or a major country or a widely accepted country that issued a gold-backed coin, that it would be. Now, that would be fascinating to see what that would do to these fiat currencies like the pound sterling or the euro or the dollar. Like, I would want to see what that happens. I believe I already know what's going to happen with ISIS's dinar.
Well, what's going to happen?
Not much. That they're not going to have that much gold anyway, and that they're, going to lie about the amount of gold that they have, and that if you call them liars, they will chop your head off.
The ISIS coins.
Also, here's another prediction with ISIS. At some point, they will do something so utterly reprehensible and so utterly stupid as to piss off enough of the European greater Western countries that they will come in and they will kill every one of those people that has been called themselves ISIS up to this point. And then
you think the European countries are going to wipe ISIS out?
Somebody's going to do it. At this point, the Asian Minor, the Arabic countries have not been able to mount a significant enough resistance against ISIS, either because they don't want to or because they can't.
Well, I think we all saw that when, even in Afghanistan, the U.S. government had a tough time fighting the people that were living there. They're on their home turf. They've got a home turf advantage, even though they don't have the fancy weapons and big budgets. They were doing okay.
Peshmerga's doing pretty good against ISIS, and they're on their home turf advantage, right? ISIS wants to move into other territory.
At the end of the video, an IS fighter appears to introduce the coins to people for the first time. The clip also features a montage of images of the Federal Reserve, George W. Bush, the September 11th attack on the Twin Towers, Osama bin Laden, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, and IS militants riding through the desert on horses with black flags fluttering behind them. It is a really visually impressive video, at least in the first 5 minutes that I watched. The militant group first indicated it was going to print its own currency last November in an effort to, quote, escape the satanic, usury-based global economic system. Experts said previously that if IS wants to create a functioning state, it will have to eventually move past just conquering new territory and actually offer services to the public. Anthony Kordsman, chair of strategy at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, told Vice News that IS has already taken steps to alter the educational and judicial system in the territory that it occupies. He says somebody has to be managing this money at a very sophisticated level. They've obviously been altering the education systems with textbooks, Islamic purification, restrictions on the educations of women. They've been conducting the equivalent of a local purge in the justice system, so they have essentially taken over many of the elements of the rule of law. So there you go, Mark. More evidence that the Islamic State is becoming more of a, legit state, if you want to call it that.
I'm not arguing that point. I don't know where you got it that I'm arguing that point.
You were saying that nobody is, no other states are recognizing them, so therefore they're not a state.
I think that's part of right. I think that's part of the sort of rising to the level of being a real state or a legit state. I don't have a good terminology for this because I consider states to be really illegitimate organizations of violence.
I'm with you. Which defines ISIS. I mean, they're an organization based in violence. Let's continue here. We'll take your calls and thoughts. You're welcome to join us here. Did ISIS do something good with this currency? I mean, do they get credit for that at least? Getting it right with the currency. You can't give them credit for having gold and silver backed, actual, not just backed, but actual gold and silver currency. I think you should give them credit where credit's due. Good job, ISIS. 855-450 free.
What the hell is wrong with you?
It's Free Talk Live.
We are a survival company. We manufacture our own line of Level 3 and Level 3A body armor. We proudly make our armor 100% in America. We have the best prices in the nation, about $125 cheaper than our nearest competitor. All lab certified, for thou art my rock and my fortress. Psalm 31:3. We are Fortress Survival LLC.com.
So I say to Mark at lunch, look, I keep hearing from the government that, they're worried someday ISIS may get here. And I go, duh, Garland, Texas, Mohammed cartoon shooting, ISIS is already here. I'm not waiting for these people to defend me. If they don't know ISIS is here already, they got no clue. I'm taking care of myself. Guns80.com, AR-15 kits, 30-shot magazines, Great prices. They've even got the Hillary special. Guns80.com. That's 844-2GUNS80, guns80.com.
Many are in disbelief today after word of shocking allegations against a Minnesota-based talk syndication company known as GCN. It's claimed that they're the fourth largest talk syndication company in the U.S., making it even more scandalous that they've been accused of helping business owners expose themselves on a massive scale. Let's go live to Tom for more on this story.
It's being called the greatest exposure of our lifetime, while other business owners are beginning to step forward claiming they too exposed themselves with the help of GCN.
It's true, they're all guilty, every last one of them. GCN helped me get the exposure my company needed, and just think, that was years ago. Today, GCN has like 700 affiliate stations and over 6 million downloads from iTunes and their website every month.
Imagine the exposure your company can get. Expose your business to the masses. Email advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective. GCN.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
Mike Stenerson from Midas Resources. At no time in history have precious metals been more important, certainly not in my 22 years in the industry. The dollar has lost over 90% of its value in the last 60 years. No fiat currency has ever survived the government printing presses. Ours is not immune. The time is now to be proactive. 1-800-686-2237, extension 116. Anything tied to the dollar is at risk. CDs, annuities, 401ks, IRAs, stocks, bonds, you name it, so decide. Do you want to leave a legacy of wealth or debt for your family? The choice is yours. Call me at 1-800-686-2237, extension 116. That's 1-800-686-2237, extension 116. Be proactive, not reactive. Call 1-800-686-2237, extension 116.
You're old enough to tell that something is definitely wrong. You've been paying attention for years, and you're ready. You're probably frustrated because your children don't listen to your words of warning. What will you do when your grandkids show up hungry at your door? Get more food storage from Ready Supply Foods. We sell 50% more food for your dollar, and we can prove it. See the comparisons for yourself at ReadySupplyFoods.com. We're the new leader in value and quality. Go to ReadySupplyFoods.com today.
This is Free Talk Live. Call in toll free. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
This is Free Talk Live. You are invited to join us on the radio. Toll free, 855-450-FREE. We're talking money. What is real money? Well, apparently ISIS knows better than pretty much every other government in the world what real money is. I'll give them credit where credit is due. They've gotten this one right. Now, they're an absolutely horrible group of people otherwise, murdering and raping and pillaging, just doing awful things, decapitating people. I mean, I got no love for ISIS. I don't love any state. I'm not interested in the state as a concept. I want to see the idea of the state abolished. I'm an abolitionist in that way. And so no fan of ISIS. But, credit where credit's due. A broken clock will strike right a couple times a day. And in this case, ISIS is minting gold, silver, and copper coins. And you know what? I wish we had that here in the United States.
I see value to a currency that's backed by something. And
if you're going to have a government currency, it'd be better if it was backed by something tangible.
But I did point out the integral problem with a government value-backed currency, which is that you essentially don't have any third-party verification that it exists.
That they have the actual money in a vault somewhere. You mean the actual gold backing the paper?
Right.
Well, there are ways to verify that. If they wanted to be honest with folks, they could have a third-party auditor come in there and audit the vault every month.
But that's kind of the point of a government. Is a government is an organization that claims for itself and tries to foster in people so much trust that they don't have to do auditing. See, I wouldn't trust the government to tell the truth, but there are lots of people that trust the government so thoroughly that they'll go and fight and die for it.
That's true.
They'll fight and die for the wishes of politicians because they've been lied to by whatever organization says that this war's worth it or that war's worth it.
Well, they've been lied to and told that it's serving their country when in point of fact it's serving the political class. Let's go to the phone calls, your calls and thoughts. We do have Dennis in Florida with us listening to LRN.FM. Hey, Dennis, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Hi, guys.
Hey, you're on the air.
Thanks. Thank you.
Welcome.
2 quick points. I appreciate that. State, does that not have to include land, defined borders? Can you be a state having a defined borders, or can you just be state defined?
You're breaking up a little bit. Are you asking the question, can you be a state without a defined border?
Yes, that's my question.
That's a good question.
I'm going to field that. So a state, yes, the answer I would say is that yes, you can be a state without an undisputed border. So you have to claim borders for yourself, and I'm sure ISIS claims borders for itself. It likely claims the whole world. So
yes, they were constantly pushing their borders outward, right? Like they want to invade more places.
So therefore, they don't need borders in that sense to be a state. All you have to do is claim a monopoly on a given landmass, any landmass, in order to be a state.
I think you also have to prove your monopoly, right, by using violence to overtake the existing monopoly. So if you can defeat
a lot like America.
Yeah,
very much like America.
A lot like the United States, exactly.
Yes. Yeah, and the U.S., even though the U.S. has borders, it clearly also has 1,000 military bases all around the rest of the world, and essentially has, moved its presence from just the contiguous 48 and Alaska and Hawaii and Puerto Rico or whatever, beyond that to hundreds of other places.
Correct.
So,
and now my other point.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Now, I've always had this thing with money and gold. I mean, I'm a big fan of gold and silver. I know it has value. It has, and throughout history, and history proves that it holds its value. But what I don't like is connecting wealth to a finite thing. I think the Federal Reserve has proven that you can create wealth out of nothing. It depends on what you do with that, I mean, they've done bad things with it.
You can't create wealth out of nothing. You can create money out of nothing.
They did. What do you mean money?
Well, you can print
money, wealth, whatever.
No, there's a difference. Money is
right.
one indicator of wealth. Money is an indicator.
I'm using the wrong word.
Okay.
I'm using the wrong word.
Yeah.
I'm using the wrong word. But what I'm saying is, wealth. You can create money out of nothing, right? I mean, the
that's
Federal
correct.
Reserve
That's what they do.
That. Okay. So if we can take that power as a honest, community or an honest state and use that toward good, isn't that's good, right?
You've already not just by using just by creating money from thin air, you have stopped being good. So the good ended right then.
No, why is that true?
Because it's dishonest.
Here's the reason. You're going to see this. I believe it's this summer. Maybe it's this Christmas season. You're going to see Batman versus Superman, and it's going to answer your question.
What do you mean?
Here's the answer. If we were to give one man the ability to be completely bulletproof and fly and be super strong, so strong that he could move the Earth out of its orbit. Superman's actually done that at one point or another. Shoot laser beams out of his eyes, blow super cold breath that could freeze people. Would that person be good or would he be evil?
What you're missing my point, though.
I don't think I am, because if you give somebody the ability to create wealth,
one finite thing like gold or silver.
Well, money isn't one finite thing. It is by no means one finite thing. Gold is simply a commodity that people will trade for other things. So, for instance, if I have enough gold, you will sell me your car for it, right?
Yes.
Gold is money. That by that definition. So are a variety of other things. See, if I have enough chickens, you will not trade me your car because you're like, what am I going to do with these chickens? If I have a commensurate value of chickens as I do for gold, you'll be like, I don't need a bunch of live chickens. So chickens.
Barter and trade, though, that's different.
Right. So it doesn't really work the same way.
I'm talking about doing the same thing the Federal Reserve has done, which they've created money out of thin air. Why? They have done that, right? You agree to that?
They do it all the time.
Why cannot well-intentioned people do the same thing?
The same reason you wouldn't give those well-intentioned people the ability to shoot lasers out of their eyes or move the earth, be so strong they could move the earth, because they would turn evil. Creating money out of thin air, creating wealth from nothing is a superpower, and anybody with a sufficiently powerful superpower is going to become evil.
Well, it's also based in dishonesty, right? You're printing money from nothing. You're printing money into existence. That's by default a dishonest act. I mean, unless you could argue that everyone who's accepting that currency is aware of the fact of the inflation rate and, how much money is being printed and how often, and that they're all completely aware and that they consent to it, which is not the case, right? With the Federal Reserve note, people don't even really know what inflation is, a lot of people. And so, if you're starting out and you're claiming that you've got good intentions and you're creating money from thin air, I think it's a dishonest thing to do, and so therefore anything that you do with it is corrupt from the get-go.
Well, in this society, as corrupt as people are and as spiritually retarded as we are, yes, you may be right, but maybe I'm just looking at it in a perfect world. But yes, that can be a tool that can be used to change this world if it were put in the right hands and supported by the right people. That's my only point.
It would.
I don't see it being bad.
This is essentially the Chicagoan view, the monetarist view of money. There's Austrians, Chicagoans, and Keynesians. That's a very simple breakdown of these ideas. And I would, I get what the value is of creating money on a sort of a regular basis and inflating the monetary base. Austrians would say it makes no difference. It will not change the economy in any way if you do not inflate the monetary base, or if you keep or if you do inflate the monetary base.
It only transfers wealth.
Well, that's not true.
That is true. It transfers wealth from the disconnected politically to the connected politically. So whenever whoever it is that's printing the money out takes that money and buys things at at their friends' businesses, then those businesses benefit from the direct influx of cash, and everybody else suffers from the inflation effect.
Let me ask you this. So let's say that you and I run the Federal Reserve Bank, and we increase the monetary base by 3% every single year. So that means that there's money out there, and we'll increase that money supply by 3%. How do we get the money from our hands into the hands of the regular American people?
Let's talk about that. Dennis, if you can hang, we'll bring you back. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I think this is an interesting question. Dennis is asking, can the power to print money be used for good? I say no, because at its base, it is a corrupt activity. This is Free Talk Live. What do you think?
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to purse.freetalklive.com and open an account. Do this right now, don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to purse.freetalklive.com right now and get signed up and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 25% off of everything on Amazon through purse.freetalklive.com. It's purse.freetalklive.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Hey, Berkey Guy here. Are you still drinking unfiltered tap water? Does your water contain chlorine or fluoride? Will you have drinkable water in an emergency? The Berkey Guy is here to help you remove these and other potential contaminants from your water, thus helping you drink clean, purified water. We offer Berkey water purification systems at the lowest available prices online. Don't go another moment without Berkey system. Over the last 10 years, we've helped thousands drink clean, purified water. Join them by visiting goberkey.com or call me, the Berkey Guy, at 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653.
Before using Heart and Body Extract, my energy level was very, very low. I could only walk a few feet and then would have to sit down. I was tired and lethargic. But after taking Heart and Body Extract, my energy level has improved greatly, and I can now walk longer distances without getting tired so fast. Thank you, Heart and Body Extract.
Learn the secrets of an effective, natural, 100% organic nutritional supplement for a healthy heart and circulation at hbextract.com.
Hi, my name is Scott Fuchs, teacher and rowing coach for over 14 years. I was sluggish, overweight, on prescription drugs, and only 30-something. Fortunately, I was referred to Dr. Z, and happy to say Dr. Z's all-natural protocols over a consistent course resolved my health issues. I'm in the best shape of my life, and most importantly, on 0 medications.
I'm Dr. Zdanowski, author of Evology, trained as a primary care physician, surgical manipulation under anesthesia, expert in nutrition, diet, weight loss, immune system, and I specialize in chiropractic. My 15 years of professional experience has taught me the 4 keys to vibrant health: a balanced musculoskeletal system, an integrated nervous system, a flowing lymphatic system, and a body filled with over 90 essential nutrients. This has been a secret too long. Actualize your potential, reverse disease. Call me, Dr. Z. 201-945-1177, 201-945-1177, evolyourself.com.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to produce an endless supply of nano-sized silver solutions right from the convenience of your home. Silver Lungs. With the addition of our unique lung delivery system, respiratory infections are targeted directly, where traditional oral administration simply cannot reach. This pioneering method also preserves the original particle sizes and delivers your silver solution directly into the bloodstream. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at silverlungs.com. That's silverlungs.com.
You're listening to Free Talk Live. Call in toll free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free. Join us here at 855-450-FREE. We're talking money. It's a pretty important topic to get right. And, of course, the governments of the world are not even close to getting this one right. They don't want to get it right. They don't want to help you with a money system that is actually based in some sort of value. They want to have a debasable money system that they can just print out as much as they want, use as they wish, buy their bombs and their guns and their tanks, and shuffle some money over to the road building people, whoever else it is that is connected politically.
They're going to legitimize what they do by handing out some of that money to poor people who really need it.
Yep, and a lot of people who don't really need it. And so, if we actually had a value-backed system, then that would prevent a lot of this from happening. In fact, you could argue that there would probably be virtually no war without the fiat money system, because if they actually had to raise the money through taxes for war, it would be much more difficult to raise money from a people who typically do not want war. And in a lot of cases in American history, people have not wanted war. Woodrow Wilson was elected on a promise to keep America, or reelected rather, on a promise to keep America out of war. Right?
It's true. Yeah. The pressure on him was severe to go to war, but there were plenty of wars when they had value-backed currencies. I mean, all you have to do is look at the kings and Europe and see how they fought all the time.
That's true.
Now,
I'm not saying it'd be impossible, but it'd make it harder.
Yeah, it would make it harder. You said it would be virtually no war, and I don't know. I'm interested, but we don't. We got to try it to see whether it would work.
Hey, we're going to get back to Dennis here, who held through and wanted to continue the discussion about money, and can the printing of money, which is what governments tend to do, can that be used for good by some other organization. But first, I'll tell you about ExpressCoin. That is your choice for getting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Dogecoin. These are other great alternative currencies. Not just gold and silver. Gold and silver certainly are great, and you can get them from gold.freetalklive.com. But Bitcoin is like the new wave in alternative currencies, and it's pretty exciting stuff. If you haven't looked into it yet, you can learn more at bitcoin.com. But if you're ready to get some, go to expresscoin.com. They're a licensed money services business, and they're fast, safe, easy, and inexpensive. You can get cryptocurrencies with money order or a check and get started over at expresscoin.com, whether you're in the U.S. or Canada. Most people in those countries can use expresscoin.com, and you can do it from your smartphone. They've got an app. Plus, you can use coupon code FTL, like Free Talk Live, to get up to $40 worth of cryptocurrency with no fee at all. That's expresscoin.com, coupon code FTL. As we go back to Dennis in Florida. Now, there are things, Dennis, that the government does today with the money that they print that are supposedly good. Like Mark said, helping people who are sick or needy in some way. Every now and then a few bucks of the government's money goes to that, but a good chunk of it goes to, the military-industrial complex or the prison-industrial complex and the construction-industrial complex and so on and so forth. But, your proposal was that someone else use the power to print money, some good man, some great man or whatever, do this. Mark, you were saying that would corrupt that great man, even if the man was a great man in the first place. But I wanted to make sure, Dennis, you had a chance to get your thoughts out on this. So go ahead.
I appreciate that. Yes, what I'm saying is wrestling the power of creating money from the powers that should not be is going to be an impossible task. I mean, they're unstoppable. I don't see how that can happen without some giant awakening, which I just don't see in my lifetime. What I'm saying is they do have that particular power, and that is a tool which, if put in the proper hands, could do good as it's doing bad by them right now. That's my only point with that. And now, like Bitcoin, things like that, isn't that the same basic thing? That's just a faith in a unit that can purchase and have value and do things. I mean, that's kind of a step in the right direction. I don't know much about Bitcoin, so I can't comment on it. But
well, Bitcoin is the closest to what you're envisioning, in my opinion. It's not the power to print money. Okay, so Bitcoin doesn't have that. There are more Bitcoins that are coming into existence. So technically, there is some level of inflation to the Bitcoin economy. But of course, anybody using Bitcoins is opting in. It's not a government currency. It's not a legal tender. So it's not being forced upon anybody at all. And there's also a maximum number of Bitcoins that can ever be mined, at least according to the current code and how the system works. Bitcoin is an alternative currency that was created by Satoshi Nakamoto, which nobody knows who that is. It's an anonymous person. He released this code to the internet about 6 years ago in 2009, and since then it has arguably become the world's most valuable currency on its own volition. And it didn't need one great man behind it to make decisions about what to do with Bitcoin. In fact, the brilliance of Bitcoin is that it is a decentralized system, that there are, hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people worldwide who are using Bitcoin. There are thousands of people who are mining the Bitcoin. And there's a very decentralized system. Now, as you get a little higher up in the structure, you go to the Bitcoin programmers, there are only so many people who are programming Bitcoin, but it's also an open source system. So anybody who knows how to program can go and they can audit the code, they can check it, they can make sure there's no backdoors in there for the NSA or for some of the Bitcoin programmers to, raid the system and take everybody's money. And that's, the security of Bitcoin is one of the reasons why it has become so popular and so effective and so valuable. So I think that, from the perspective of what you're talking about, of having somebody make these decisions, inevitably that power is always going to corrupt. But Bitcoin isn't subject to that kind of level of control because it is a decentralized system. So I think that that's probably the best answer to what you're coming up with. You certainly will not wrest that power away from governments, but what you can do is you can outcompete them with a better currency, at least so long as they don't outlaw it like they're trying to do in New York.
I like what you're saying, and I love what you guys are doing in the Free State Project. I think that's affirmative action. That's a step in the right direction. I'm hoping you're very successful with that. My point is that there is that capability set to have that tool to do good. And as a society, will we get there in a relatively short span of time, probably not. Maybe eventually, I hope so.
I would adopt it. I would not adopt
against,
whatever that currency is. If somebody's out there claiming they're a great man and they're going to do the right thing with their ability to print money, I'm not going to believe it.
How can you not listen? Just because it's a good idea and a good thing to do, why would you assume that's going to be corrupted? I mean,
because power corrupts.
This is where
anything.
Right. Okay. Hold on. Let's start over here.
The direction of good.
No, it's not going to move in the direction of good. This is the point. There have been studies that have put out government does, and by government I mean power. Power doesn't only attract the corrupt, but it corrupts the people that work that have power. It's both is the case. Not only is power attract people that are corrupt, but it corrupts those that have power. So that's the problem. Is that you're going to have a situation where, the perfect human being, but there's no such thing as perfect human being. A good human being is in charge of issuing some currency for a government, and because it is a currency, and it is a tender, legal tender, and it is therefore it has a monopoly, that person is going to have too much power, and it is going to corrupt them. That's really the point here.
Power in one hand. You don't.
Fine. You put it.
It takes a societal effort. Everybody has to participate, and that's the only reason. That's the only way we'll ever be free.
Well,
How
brother,
is
that
this
ain't
ever
going
going
to
to work?
I mean,
when have rich people ever given the power to little people?
Rich people.
What's that?
I'm saying people, in a broad sense, stand up for what's right.
Not going to happen.
Do
Everybody's not going to participate in anything ever. If your plan requires everybody
you just
to participate.
need competition. You have good things in your life, lots of good products, lots of good services. Competition has brought them to you. Somehow you think a monopoly is going to work in money. It's not. It's a bad idea. What we need is competition. We need bitcoins. Yes, it is what you're saying.
Well, I didn't think that's what I was saying.
Okay. Here's the answer to your problem. You get government out of money. At that point,
I agree.
Anybody can issue anything that they call money, and it will either fail or it will succeed.
And let the market decide what the best money is. Hey, thanks, Dennis, for your call. I really appreciate the thoughts in the conversation. I thought it was a good topic, really, an important issue. So
it's something we never get to delve into either. And ultimately, it's simply competition is the answer here.
Yeah, there's not going to be one great man who can, lead us. Not even Ron Paul, right? Not even Ron Paul. As good as he was at resisting the ring of power when he was in D.C., I still wouldn't trust Ron Paul to be in charge of a money system like that. I like your idea, Mark, of having competing currencies. Let the market decide what is the best option out there. Let people have 4 or 5 different options out there, whatever it is the market's willing to provide, and then let the best one rise to the top because it is clearly the best. That's why people choose to use it. Not because they're forced to use it, like with a government system, like, the U.S. dollar is what they call legal tender. Now, you see that written on all the dollars, but do you know what it means? A legal tender is where you are forced to accept it. If you don't accept the U.S. dollar and you're doing business in the United States, that's a federal violation. You can go to prison, from what I understand, for doing that.
I don't imagine it's going to be a problem. I'd like to accept all your dollars. Please send them to us. amp.freetalklive.com.
There's more coming up. It's Free Talk Live.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you? Or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom. And with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
I wish I could fall asleep. Jennifer had a stressful day, and now her mind is spinning at bedtime. I have a big day tomorrow. It's time for new Unisom Sleep Minis. The tiny capsules are non-habit forming and work fast. They're the little help busy people need to get a good night's sleep and wake recharged. Good night. New Unisom Sleep Minis. A stressful day deserves a restful night. Use as directed. Active ingredient diphenhydramine hydrochloride.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom106.com.
Call to Decision with Pastor Butch Baugh, GCN.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. A federal judge has exempted the pro-life group March for Life from the Obama health care law's contraceptive mandate. Judge Richard Leon ruled that forcing the group to participate would be unconstitutional. Attorney Matt Bowman with the Alliance Defending Freedom says March for Life maintains that contraceptives destroy human life.
The women at March for Life don't want these items in their plan. The insurer doesn't need to put them in, and the organization was founded to defend human life, not help destroy it. So March for Life will be entirely exempt under this decision.
March for Life sued the Obama administration last year over the provision. A suburban Houston police officer who was ambushed was shot 15 times at a gas station. Harris County District Attorney Devon Anderson describes what was seen on the video at the gas station after accused gunman Shannon Miles got out of his car.
He runs up behind Deputy Goforth and puts a gun to the back of his head and shoots. Deputy Goforth hits the ground, and then he continues to unload his gun.
Shannon Miles is being held without bail. A Houston police officer who is a friend of the deputy, Darren Goforth, Roland de los Santos, says Goforth was killed because he wore a police uniform. The Supreme Court on Monday ruled against the Kentucky County Clerk who has refused to issue same-sex marriage licenses, and the clerk will arrive at work Tuesday morning to face her moment of truth. Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis will have to choose whether to issue marriage licenses, defying her Christian beliefs, or continue to refuse them, defying a federal judge who could pummel her with fines or order that she be hauled off to jail. Her attorney says she's going to think and pray about a decision overnight. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 115 points, the Nasdaq dropped 52, the S&P lower by 17. More on these stories at townhall.com.
For many people, noise is just a part of life. But there is one noise you shouldn't have to live with. It's the ringing in your ears associated with tinnitus, and sometimes it doesn't stop. Luckily, there is a new homeopathic medicine that can reduce the noises associated with tinnitus. It's called Quiet Assure, and it's guaranteed to help reduce the ringing, the buzzing, and the noises. Finally, there is Quiet Assure. Call right away for a risk-free trial of Quiet Assure. 1 in 5 people are suffering from tinnitus. Don't be one of them. Call now. Just call 1-800-326-1765. That's 1-800-326-1765. Quiet Assure is an all-natural homeopathic medicine. Get your risk-free trial. Just call 1-800-326-1765. That's 1-800-326-1765.
A racial gap in kidney transplants appears to have closed.
The study shows the transplant rate for blacks climbed from 93 per 1,000 patients in 1998 to about 128 per 1,000 in 2010 and 2011. The rate was the same for whites. The study's senior author says the trend likely stems from a 2003 change in a national allocation policy for donor kidneys, one that eases a restriction on partially matched donor kidneys. Advanced kidney disease is more common in blacks, but they are less likely to be referred for transplants. I'm Bob Agnew.
Rick Perry's financially struggling presidential campaign is set to keep going in Iowa with just one paid staffer and some volunteers. The former Texas governor's senior Iowa strategist Robert House says the Republican campaign will have one paid operative for now. Perry's campaign has struggled with sluggish fundraising. Last week, Perry's state chairman left to work with Donald Trump. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. The Transportation Security Administration reports 1.5 million people have signed up for its PreCheck Known Traveler program.
The PreCheck program is part of the TSA's effort to move to what it calls risk-based security techniques. It allows airline passengers to volunteer information to the agency in exchange for the possibility of receiving expedited screenings. Passengers enrolled in the program pay an $85 fee. It covers 5 years of expedited screening. Among other things, passengers in the PreCheck program don't have to remove their shoes or belts at airport security checkpoints. The program was started in 2011. Linda Kenyon, Washington.
Bluebell ice cream is back. Bluebell Creameries resumed selling its products at some locations in Texas and Alabama today, 4 months after the Texas-based retailer halted sales due to listeria contamination at some plants. The contamination prompted health concerns that drew the attention of regulators. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You are an individual with your own thoughts, decisions, and actions. So why should you be penalized for not enrolling in the subpar health insurance mandated by the government? Be truly independent. Visit libertyoncall.org. Libertyoncall.org is a bold, innovative alternative allowing you to take back control and make your own decisions about your health care. Mention this ad when you call to learn more. 800-714-6993. That's 800-714-6993. libertyoncall.org. Call today.
We are a survival company. We manufacture our own line of Level 3 and Level 3A body armor. We proudly make our armor 100% in America. We have the best prices in the nation, about $125 cheaper than our nearest competitor. All lab certified, for thou art my rock and my fortress. Psalm 31:3. We are Fortress Survival LLC.com.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here to bring up whatever happens to be on your mind. 855-450-FREE. There's a high school walkout that occurred, I guess it was today. Yeah, it was today. In Missouri over the use of a girls' locker room by a transgender student. With you in the studio tonight, by the way, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And you can join us online as well. Don't forget to visit us at freetalklive.com. We've got archives of the show and more, all there completely free, so enjoy at freetalklive.com. KMOV.com reporting that more than 150 students, that's a pretty big walkout, walked out of the Hillsborough High School over a dispute about the use of the girls' locker room by a transgender student. The walkout lasted for about 2 hours. Roughly 30 to 40 people showed support for senior Lila Perry, who wants to use the girls' locker room during gym class. Perry was born a male, but said she has identified as a female since age 13. Perry said, quote, "There's a lot of ignorance. They're claiming that they're uncomfortable. I don't believe for a second that they are. I think this is pure and simple bigotry," unquote. The short distance away, a counter-protest was being held by people claiming they have relatives at the high school. Protester Jeff Childs says boys need to have their own locker room, girls need to have their own locker room, and if somebody has mixed feelings where they are, they need to have their own also. Perry told News 4 school officials have been accommodating, understanding, and compliant with Title IX. The school offered her a private gender-neutral restroom, which she turned down.
Now that's interesting.
Perry said, "I wasn't hurting anyone, and I didn't want to feel segregated out. I didn't want to be in the gender-neutral bathroom. I'm a girl. I shouldn't be pushed off to another bathroom." Some parents have asked if it's an act by Perry to get into the girls' bathroom. Now, I gotta say, I don't think that's the case. I mean, this would be a pretty dedicated thing to do, right? To make yourself the laughingstock of a high school just to get a peep in the girls' bathroom seems pretty unlikely.
It would depend on how thorough you were in it, right? Like you're talking about some big buff jock that makes no effort to begin changing over the way they dress.
This person is dressing the role.
Right, I get it. I'm just saying that, that person could just say, "I'm a woman. I need to be able to go in the girls' locker room to change." No, really, I am. Right? Like, so is there a joker in that high school that's willing to do that?
Sure.
The answer is yes.
There is. But this person appears to be dedicated. She says she's identified as a female since age 13. She's in high school now, so this has at least been going on for a few years. And, I just feel like, and I don't mean to say that I don't consider this to be a laughing matter, but I just know how high school is. So,
sure.
When I say this person is the laughing stock, I don't mean to suggest that everyone in the school is rude towards this person. Obviously, she's got her supporters, and I think that, he or she should be able to decide. You should be able to, decide whatever you want for yourself. It's your body. You do what you want. But, high schoolers are mean, and high schools are a nasty place where people feel justified and being rude and mean to one another. So that's a pretty big price to pay to go through to just take a peep in the girls' locker room. I don't think most people are willing to do that.
Okay, so I'm only imagining the locker rooms that I have been in high school.
Okay,
I
tell me
don't
about
know
it.
what they're like today, but I have been in the girls' locker room at my high school. It was
under what circumstance?
I was working with the basketball team, and this was when there weren't any girls in it when we had to go in there, but I had to go in and get something with the girls' coach from the girls' locker room. We were borrowing something from them or something. I'm not entirely sure. So I've been in there, and
it looks like the boys' locker room. Right?
It looked similar to the boys' locker room. There were stalls for like bathrooms and that sort of thing.
Right.
But
No urinals.
it was a communal shower and a large area where people got dressed and undressed.
And that's the same as the boys' locker room. Right?
Yes. And when we would get dressed and undressed in the boys' locker room, we would get completely unclothed.
Yep.
And we would go take a shower. In some cases, the coach actually had to enforce this rule. So, everybody has to take a shower after playing, whatever sport it was.
Mm-hmm.
And
even if you were shy and you didn't, want everybody to see your junk.
Right, because you're not going to go stinking to your math class, And so that's how that was. I don't want to be in the position where, I'm not accepting of somebody who's transitioning or whatever, but I feel like a gender-neutral bathroom is a good solution here.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly does seem to solve the problems, and why this person doesn't, isn't willing to accept that. That's, I guess, another discussion.
She is saying that she doesn't want to. Like,
she doesn't want to feel special like that. Right?
She feels like a woman or a girl, so she should be in the girls' locker room. However, I would say that until she has done everything that there is to do to transition over.
You mean chopping off her penis?
Right, it's a big level of commitment, but then we know we're serious here, right? And anybody who's willing to do that, I support, because they have a higher level of commitment to whatever this is than I would have, right? So, I gotta say that I think the gender neutral bathroom is the solution here.
I gotta say that the whole idea of a shared locker room with an open shower is a weird thing. Like, I, in school, never had to go through that. So I went to this gifted school in Florida.
Oh, yeah?
Toward the very...
the smart kids, they had their own little shower stalls? That's nice.
No, I don't think I ever showered at school. I don't think it was like a mandatory thing.
What'd you play in gym class? You didn't get sweaty?
Well, before we went to this, we moved to this school. The school I went to used to be a bunch of trailers for a while, and then they actually moved to an actual school facility. So back when there was trailers, there was no place to go and shower after gym. There was just no such. There wasn't even a gym. Like, you'd go outside and you'd do gym-like things on a field, and you'd go back to class.
Okay.
So you don't have to have showers. That's just something they added later on. And I don't know. I felt weird about it. I wasn't interested in going and getting naked in front of everybody else in the school. And so I don't even understand that at all. Like, that seems kind of invasive. I mean, if we care about privacy, is the idea here, if the idea is that it's wrong to have a girl or a guy in the bathroom with the opposite sex because they might be ogling at them or something like that, that can certainly happen in a single-sex bathroom, what with, gay people being in there, right?
Okay, so yes, I get that. Really, the issue is space, the cost to taxpayers and that sort of thing. If you have... I mean, these gym classes were 50 kids. 50 kids being able to change in and change out to their clothes and take showers. You have to have 50 bathroom stalls, 50 shower stalls.
Wow,
you're gonna have
that's a lot,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a ridiculous number. Whereas if you have 10 shower heads sticking out of the wall in one big shower room, then 5 guys can circle through, this kind of thing. who's ever in earlier. Some of them just kind of stand there. One guy gets in, then steps out and soaps up, while another guy gets in, steps out and soaps up. I have shared shower heads with guys in gym class, and that's just what you had to do.
That's just more intimate than I would like to get with the people in my gym class.
I hear you.
I'm sorry,
but I guess I've experienced a lot of this, having spent some time in prison, and then after that,
that's what it reminds me of.
I can see that, but prison reminded me of gym class, so it wasn't that big of a deal. Plus the fact that you're looking at adults having communal showers at gyms afterwards too. I mean, there's lots of gyms out there that still have communal shower heads. Not that big of a deal, and you wear flip-flops in. You hope you don't catch something awful on your feet.
Patricia Byrne, veteran gender therapist, says this is not a ruse. She says that's really important for many people to know and parents to know, that a person doesn't choose this. They really don't. They know it very early on and are in a great deal of pain. Out of concern for her own safety, Perry dropped out of the gym class. She plans to continue to use the girls' restroom. And this is going to be an issue that I think is going to continue to present itself. We've seen colleges moving towards gender-neutral bathrooms and such, and not a lot of people are comfortable with this. But as long as you've got a stall to go into, who cares who else is in
Right. I think that makes the difference in the girls' bathroom versus the girls' locker room.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a stall in the girls' bathroom.
I suspect
nobody's ogling anything there.
I suspect this individual is going to be picked on no matter which, even if they go in the girls' or the boys' locker rooms. This person's going to likely have a tough time in there.
No, yeah.
Because boys are picking on each other anyway, just because they're boys. And I don't imagine girls are any nicer.
Yeah.
855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. Your thoughts on transgendered bathrooms.
I walk my dog every day, and I've got the best-looking dog in the neighborhood named Stanley. He's a collie mix. We meet the same people every day. They'll tell me, oh, he's so soft, and he's so silky. And these dogs that have the brittle hair, it's coarse. It doesn't lay nice. It's not shiny. It's dull. I tell them about Dinovite.
DINOVITE.com. 859-428-1000.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Sundance's coat was shiny and glossy the way it had when she was a puppy.
We get asked all the time at shows, how do you get your dog so healthy and shiny and glossy?
It didn't take very long. They've got their nice, expensive jogging suit on, and their dog has their smooth, beautiful, soft, shiny coat. So now their dog looks just as good as they do.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
Sciatica, lower back pain, hip pain, poor posture. If you suffer from any of these problems, get ready to relax. Introducing an amazing product that's been in the market for over 25 years, the Sacro Wedgie. It was invented by a football coach using a common-sense osteopath technique. He created this device to help his athletes by isolating and supporting the sacrum, which is the keystone of our anatomy. This wedge-shaped bone is in the center of our hips, where a lot of pain starts. Simply relax 20 minutes daily on the amazingly simple Sacro Wedgie and let gravity do the work, helping muscles rebalance and start releasing nerves. Sit in the Sacro Wedgie at the computer or while traveling to help correct posture to finally help relieve those stubborn aches and pains for only $33.95. It's made in the USA, so click the family-owned website at sacrowedgie.com, spelled SACROWEDGY.com, or call 1-800-737-9295. That's 1-800-737-9295. Relax your back pain away with the Sacro Wedgie.
Virtually anyone can hack your cell phone and track your calls, your texts, your emails, your every movement, but only if they can detect a signal. Stay one step ahead of hackers and Big Brother with a Block-It Pocket, a custom-made pocket infused with pure silver that creates a complete Faraday enclosure for your cell phone. For free shipping to the lower 48, visit blockitpocket.com or call 888-315-9618. Blockitpocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV.
Just recently, we've witnessed some of the most catastrophic disasters in history. Be sure to prepare yourself with great-tasting, high-quality, GMO-free food that has a 25-year shelf life. Of course, we're talking about the foods from SurvivalFoodAlliance.com. And don't forget, the human body needs up to 3 quarts of water every day to remain healthy and hydrated. So check out our water bricks at SurvivalFoodAlliance.com. Go to SurvivalFoodAlliance.com or call 877-223-1776.
Now, more Free Talk Live. Call in toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
This is Free Talk Live. You can join us on the radio. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And you can join us online as well over at freetalklive.com. You know, we were talking about money earlier in the show tonight. In case you're just tuning in, we had discussed the ISIS gold and silver and bronze coins, which you're certainly still welcome to comment on. But we mentioned Venezuela in that discussion. And, of course, Venezuela has been a real go-to point for and a good example of how socialism fails, at least the current example of how socialism fails, and how manipulating a money system results in absolute calamity for the people in a country. That's what's happening in Venezuela right now. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And we'll talk more about what's going on over there because I think it's instructive. It's terrible for the people that are having to go through it. For the rest of us in the world, we can observe it and hopefully take away a few things to learn from it. But something else you need to learn about is saveatpurse.com, where you can save 20 to 25%, even more perhaps, on your purchases at Amazon. And I have saved as much as 30% on saveatpurse.com. You can do perhaps more, or you can do less. You actually get to select the discount that you want. The larger the discount, the longer it might take to actually get the order fulfilled. Because what you're doing is, with saveatpurse.com, you're spending your Bitcoin. So ultimately, you're kind of putting your Bitcoin out on a marketplace at a certain markup, and that's how you get these huge discounts. You can go and watch the video on saveatpurse.com. It'll explain how it works. I don't want to get into the details, but just suffice it to say, it works. I've done it 24 times at least on Purse over the last 8 months, and I'm an incredibly satisfied customer. I'm highly recommending it. In fact, I recommended Purse on the air before they even started sponsoring the show.
It's true.
Saveatpurse.com.
And the owner of the company heard you do it and then contacted us, right?
Yeah, which was pretty cool. Saveatpurse.com. You go there, you get signed up. That's not their regular URL. That's our affiliate link. And so you only need to go through that the first time. And then after that, you can go to their regular URL.
But why not?
But when you're sharing it with people, you can share saveatpurse.com.
Why not just continue to go to saveatpurse.com? And there's no particular good reason. That way you can keep the name in mind. When you recommend it to a family member, you're using saveatpurse.com. I mean, there's just no particularly good reason to do otherwise.
So if you want to save big, and I mean big, 25% on Amazon, that's for real. You can do that with saveatpurse.com. The trick is you've got to have Bitcoin to make that happen.
And here's another thing is that, I mean, isn't this the greatest opportunity to introduce the ideas of Bitcoin, the concept of Bitcoin, to your friends and family? Don't you want them to be able to save 15 to 30% on everything that they need in their life. That's just about what they sell at Amazon. There's a few things you need that they don't sell at Amazon, but not very many. And this is a great opportunity. Reintroduce the ideas of Bitcoin, because now there's a killer app. This is it. The reason to use Bitcoin is saveitpurse.com.
La Cibucara, Venezuela. This is from the Wall Street Journal and published just a few days ago. Hours after they looted and set fire to a National Guard command post in this sun-baked corner of Venezuela earlier this month, a mob, infuriated by worsening food shortages, rammed trucks into the smoldering edifice, reducing it mostly to rubble. The incident was just one of numerous violent clashes that have flared in pockets around the country in recent weeks as Venezuelans wait for hours in long supermarket lines for basics like milk and rice. Shortages have made hunger a palpable concern for many YU Indians who live here at the northern tip of Venezuela's 1,300-mile border with Colombia. The soldiers had been deployed to stem rampant food smuggling and price speculation, which President Nicolás Maduro blames for triple-digit inflation and scarcity. Let me repeat that. The soldiers have been deployed to stem rampant food smuggling and price speculation, which is what the president is blaming for triple-digit inflation.
Yes, food smuggling is what the problem is.
Now, we just explained in the last hour, but for those of you who are just now tuning in, inflation is a government thing. The government is the one printing the currency, in this case, the strong Bolivar in Venezuela. Inflation is an inflation in the money supply. It is not an increase in prices. Increasing prices is a symptom, a very common symptom
called
of
price inflation, and often shorted to inflation. Price inflation is the symptom of inflation.
Correct. It can be a symptom of inflation.
It can be, right? So if, for instance, during the situation with the when the banks lost all the money on houses that went into foreclosure, and the Federal Reserve started QE1, QE2, and then QE infinity, and printed a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Well, those banks, all they did was use that money to restore their reserves that had been lost when this money disappeared, when these houses weren't worth as much anymore. When these banks had mortgages on houses. Imagine every house in the country is worth $200,000.
Okay.
And then imagine every house goes from being worth $200,000 to being worth $100,000. And the banks that have, say, 90% of those houses are under mortgage, they have $180,000 in debt on each one of those $200,000 houses. And then those banks begin to lose that money, that $180,000 mortgage they have on each house. They begin to lose that as people stop paying mortgage payments on houses that are worth $100,000, and they have a $180,000 mortgage on. So these banks lost a great deal of value. When the government created quantitative easing a few years ago and just began, I guess the Federal Reserve did through the government, whatever, began pumping money into these banks, they were giving them money essentially to shore them up.
But the prices of the houses dropped.
The houses stayed dropped.
Yeah.
Because supply and demand cannot be stopped. I don't care if it's Venezuela.
Right.
It cannot be stopped by the United States. It can be manipulated, but you can't manipulate it forever. Sooner or later, the laws of economics come home to roost, and they tend to club over the head the people that believed those in the state.
So, Nicolás Maduro, either he doesn't understand economics, I suspect he doesn't, or he's a liar, or both. It's certainly possible that both is the case here, because it's not the price speculators' fault, and it's not the food smugglers' fault that there's inflation. People are smuggling food because of the monetary policy in Venezuela, where they have set an artificial exchange rate of 6.3 bolivars to $1, which if you actually trade a US dollar on the black market in Venezuela, you can get over 600 bolivars for it. So there's an actual value for a U.S. dollar. There's the market value, which is called the black market in this case, because it's illegal to trade it for something other than 6.3 bolivars per dollar. But that's going on all the time in Venezuela. And so what will happen is people will smuggle products out of Venezuela into Colombia or other places where they can then sell them for dollars and come back and then use those dollars in Venezuela to get a bunch more Bolivars.
Sure, they're trying to use what's broken to make a little bit of money, and people are going to continue to do that.
So, Venezuela's answer is not to restore their monetary, or fix their monetary policy. Their answer is we need to crack down on the smugglers.
It's really hard once you have a problem, as far as the people's faith in your currency, to sort of get that back.
More about what's happening in Venezuela coming up. You can share your experiences or thoughts, observations, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. I suspect it's going to get worse there before it gets better. This is Free Talk Live.
No way. Is that a real bullet necklace?
No, it's a 9mm bullet necklace with matching earrings, you'll notice.
Those are awesome. Where'd you get them?
Dave found them at patriotnecklace.com.
Wow.
They have a variety of calibers and necklaces and earrings and keychains.
Patriotnecklace.com?
Patriotnecklace.com.
Your choice of caliber bullet includes a rugged American-made stainless steel dog tag chain. A percentage of every sale goes to military and service-related charities. And get a discount by entering GCN at checkout. Show your patriotism and support our troops with a bullet necklace from patriotnecklace.com.
Okay, open your mouth and say ah.
Ah. When your child has a sore throat, you need to know when to get help. The doctor recommended Say Ah Sore Throat Exam is your solution. The scientifically designed oral retractor offers a clear view of the throat, relaxing the tongue and minimizing gag reflex. Compare with a medical grade chart, website, and app. Then you'll know just what to tell your doctor. A wellness plan in your hands in minutes. Go to SayAHHnow.com. SayAhNow.com, the new mainstay for every family's first aid kit.
Again, the Congressional Budget Office sounds the alarm. This time warns of Greek-style U.S. debt crises. You heard me right. The GAO is drawing a parallel between the U.S. economy, its debt, and the current Greek economic meltdown. With the debt-to-GDP chart climbing into unfamiliar territory, the growing budget deficit will rise to unsupportable levels. Hi, this is Ted Anderson. The Federal Debt and Risk of Financial Crises document the CBO has published is a must-read for every American, covering the risk of continued deficit spending coupled with an aging population and the rising interest rates spell economic disaster. It's imperative that you get a copy of this document and study it for yourself. Call me today at 800-686-2237 and I'll send you a free copy. Again, call 800-686-2237 and ask for your copy of the CBO document. Once again, you need to read this government report. Call 800-686-2237.
Now, a twice as nice Twin Kit special offer from Complete H2O Minerals for all GCN listeners. Get a Complete H2O Minerals Twin Kit with 33 different minerals, vitamins, and amino acids all in a liquid form. Enough for 2 people for 1 month. Regular price $89.95, but now Complete H2O Minerals is offering the Twin Kit for $69.95. And all GCN listeners receive a bonus 16-ounce bottle of Ionic Silver absolutely free with free shipping. A $120 total value. Hurry, limited time offer. Call 803-794-4767 or click CompleteH2OMinerals.com.
Hi, this is Walt Augustinowicz. I'm the founder and CEO of ID Stronghold. By now you've heard our commercials about wallets that protect you from electronic pickpocketing. 10 years ago, I created a way to protect my own cards from prying eyes after government officials started talking about issuing a national ID card with a built-in radio chip called RFID. I felt having to broadcast my personal information was an invasion of privacy. Soon after, it was also announced that credit cards, debit cards, U.S. passports, hotel room keys, and even transit passes would all soon incorporate RFID. It was then I formed ID Stronghold to share my inventions in blocking RFID signals with the world. There are a lot of misconceptions out there today about RFID. I encourage everyone to get informed and get protected. Please go to idstronghold.com and get the facts and the wallets, sleeves, or badge holders you need to protect your personal financial data. You'll be pleasantly surprised that through our direct sales model, you won't pay more than other comparable unprotected wallets. It is as though the protection is free. Visit idstronghold.com today.
By now, you know the smart way to buy emergency food storage is calories per dollar. Ready Supply Foods sells you 50% more food for your money. GMO-free, 25-year shelf life, great tasting, and free shipping. You need 2,000 calories per day under ideal conditions. Most 30-day kits don't have enough calories to sustain you for more than a week. They just don't have enough nutrition to do the job. See the comparisons for yourself at ReadySupplyFoods.com. We are the new leader in value and quality. Go to ReadySupplyFoods.com today.
This is Free Talk Live. Call in toll free. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You can join us here toll free, 855-450-FREE. And don't say it couldn't happen here, when it comes to the economic disaster that is Venezuela. It can happen anywhere where a government gets out of control with its printing of money and ridiculous economic controls as a result of what the Venezuelan government has been doing over decades. It's coming to a real nasty situation there where people are getting hungry in Venezuela. We don't have that problem in the United States,
Thank
thankfully.
God.
If there's a problem in the United States, it's that people are too well fed here. I don't think anybody's dying from hunger in the United States. It's pretty much that doesn't happen here, but it could as soon as the government decides to take on similar policies as Venezuela. Thankfully, they're not. I don't think they're that. I don't think they're that ignorant. I guess they're not that desperate for the power. They got plenty of power, plenty of money. So there's more wealth to be tapped here in the United States from the people. And that's maybe one of the reasons why things haven't gone as bad as they have in other places. There's not as openly socialist policies here in the United States. It's a little bit better here. And hopefully we won't be seeing this anytime soon. But I think it's interesting and instructive to look at Venezuela and see what's happening there because, well, it's happening there and it could happen anywhere else. Bitcoinist.net is the ultimate resource for Bitcoin industry news, reviews, education, and the latest in the cryptocurrency ecosystem. It's a prime destination for information about the Bitcoin and digital currency industry. They've got community forum. They've got breaking news for Bitcoin and digital currencies, the competitors to Bitcoin, fintech and blockchain tech news. Bitcoinist has sophisticated Bitcoin network statistics, a solid beginner's guide to Bitcoin, and more. The Bitcoinist platform serves the needs of everyone looking to keep up with Bitcoin and digital currencies from beginners to experts. It's Bitcoinist. That's the word Bitcoin followed by IST. Bitcoinist.net. As we continue here from Venezuela, the story from the Wall Street Journal, the president is blaming smugglers for triple-digit inflation, but it's the government's fault. It's only the government that can create inflation. That's an inflation of the money supply. And with the government in Venezuela, for those of you who've been paying attention to this show, you probably know already that the Bolivar in Venezuela is the strong Bolivar. And this was a new Bolivar they implemented, like 10 or 15 years ago, something like that?
Right.
That was to replace the old Bolivar.
They had to call it the strong Bolivar because the previous Bolivar had collapsed.
They added, basically, they took away a zero from the previous Bolivar, and they made that into the strong Bolivar. So you could trade in 10 of your Bolivars for one strong Bolivar.
I kind of wonder if they're ever going to do that with the U.S. dollar.
Yeah, I don't know. They've got some tricks up their sleeve to avoid doing that kind of thing here.
Because one of the problems, so I was born in 1971, and when you look at pricing back then versus pricing now, you would say that easily the cost of things have increased by 10 times. But the highest denomination of bill that was in existence at the time that I know of, there's $500 and $1,000 bills that are sort of floating around out there somewhere.
They don't make them new anymore, though.
But basically, the largest bill that was out there was a $100 bill. Well, now prices are 10 times as much, and the largest bill is still a $100 bill. And at some point or another, they're going to have to do away with cash, which seems like really what their plan is, or they're going to have to issue some new bill. I think it's interesting. They're all caterwauling about which bill are we going to use to put a woman on, and I guess they're going to do it on the $10 bill and get rid of Alexander Hamilton. I couldn't be happier. Let's get rid of Alexander Hamilton off the currency. But besides that, why didn't they just make a $200 bill or a $500 bill?
Well, drug dealers is the reason they got rid of the $500.
Drug dealers can move money around in suitcases just fine.
Mm-hmm.
They're moving money around.
Well, that was the reason, allegedly, they got rid of the $500 and the $1,000 bill was because drug dealers.
Okay, fine.
So anyway, back to Venezuela, where soldiers have been deployed. And people were attacking, apparently. There have been long supermarket lines. They actually went after the National Guard. People looted and set fire to a National Guard command post in La Cibicata, Venezuela. The After they've seized the contraband goods, the troops themselves become targets of increasingly desperate people. Maria Palma said that what's certain is that we're going very hungry here, and the children are suffering a lot.
Oh, jeez.
She's a 55-year-old grandmother who on a recent blistering hot day had been standing in line at the grocery store since 3 a.m. before walking away empty-handed at noon. Can you imagine?
No.
Standing in line for 9 hours and then not even being able to find what it was that you had hoped was going to be in the store that you were waiting in line 9 hours for. That is a daily occurrence in Venezuela. How do you get anything else done if all you're doing is spend your time trying to get the basic staples of life, trying to get chicken and rice?
Right. I mean, if you're standing in line for the morning, that's your whole morning shot. You only have so many hours in a day.
In a national survey, the pollster Consultores 21 found 30% of Venezuelans eating 2 or fewer meals per day during the second quarter of this year, up from 20% in the first quarter.
I bet the people in the government are eating just fine.
Yeah. Right. Nicolas Maduro is well-fed. He looks very well-fed. So it's up from 20%. So now 30% of Venezuelans are eating 2 or fewer. It was 20% in the first quarter of this year. That's a 50% increase in the number of Venezuelans eating 2 or fewer meals per day in just a quarter of a year. Around 70% of people in the study also said they had stopped buying some basic food item because it had either become unavailable or too expensive. And if it's too expensive, it's essentially unavailable to you. Food supply problems in Venezuela underscore the increasingly precarious situation for Mr. Maduro's socialist government, which, according to the latest poll, is preferred by less than 20% of voters ahead of the December 6th parliamentary election.
That's interesting. So I can't remember what the name of the jerk that turned the government over to Maduro. But he was
the guy who died, you mean?
Yeah, Chavez.
Hugo Chavez.
But he was pretty darn popular. Because the problem with socialism is sooner or later you run out of other people's money, right?
Right, and the guy who runs out is the one who's going to get the blame, even though they've been doing it the whole time.
Right. That's basically what's happened here.
The critical situation threatens to plunge South America's largest oil exporter into a wave of civil unrest, reminiscent of last year's nationwide demonstrations seeking Maduro's ouster. It's a national crisis, said Marco Ponce, head of the Venezuela Observatory of Social Conflict, noting that unlike the political protests of last year, residents are now taking to the streets to demand social rights. The nonprofit group recorded 500 protests over food shortages during the first half of 2015, 56 looting incidents, and dozens of attempted lootings at grocery stores, pharmacies, and warehouses. Even delivery trucks are frequently targeted. If people aren't outside protesting, they're outside standing in line for goods, said Mr. Ponce.
Yep, this is just more proof that people that are hungry are going to be dissatisfied with our government, and largely people that are, fed and sheltered, they're not going to do that much.
The unrest is a response to dramatically worsening living conditions for Venezuelans as the economy reels from oil's slump, following more than a decade of populist spending that left the government broke. In past years, when oil prices were high, Venezuela's leftist government flooded markets with subsidized goods ranging from cooking oil to diapers. It gave citizens in border towns like La Cibucara not only access to cheap supplies, but also a source of income as many people trafficked products, including nearly free gasoline, to neighboring Colombia, drawing handsome profits.
Yeah, Venezuela still has cheap gas.
With the government now struggling to pay for imports, there is less inventory to go around. In recent days, Mr. Maduro upped the ante by ordering troops along the border to seize contraband, deporting hundreds of Colombians whom the government blames for smuggling and shortages.
It's those darn Colombians that are ruining our country and the United States. And
that sounds familiar, doesn't it?
And the smugglers.
Right, so we're going to make everything better by paying more government troops to stand around on the border. That's going to stop things. That's going to make things better and economically. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. Somebody's going to have to pay to feed and to clothe and shelter those troops. And I don't know where they're going to get the money from. It's not like the Venezuelan people have any.
Yeah, I wonder if the troops are... they're probably in nearly as bad a shape.
Yeah, how long are the troops going to troop if they're not getting paid either?
If you own a business, you know incorporating can be a smart way to protect yourself and your assets. So the question is, why haven't you incorporated your business yet?
My business? It's too small.
Wrong. No matter how small your business, you run the risk of losing all your personal assets, your car, your home, even your entire life savings if you're not incorporated.
Incorporating is very complicated.
Actually, incorporating is easy and fast. You can do it in just 10 minutes. Call now for your free guide from Incorporate.com. 1-800-945-8645.
I need a lawyer to incorporate. That's really expensive.
You don't need a lawyer, and we don't offer legal or financial advice. Incorporate.com is a service company whose only mission is helping people like you incorporate safely, easily, and quickly. Find out how simple it is to protect your family and personal assets by incorporating. Call now for your free guide. 1-800-945-8645. 1-800-945-8645. That's 1-800-945-8645.
Are your Google search results killing you? Unflattering content in blogs, news articles, online reviews, social media, or other sources can jeopardize your reputation, your business, and your livelihood. Let Reputation.com help. Our patented technology will make the truth about you more visible while pushing down unwanted negative content. Improve your Google search results. Call Reputation.com at 1-800-831-0771 for a free consultation. That's 800-831-0771.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit, then carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Ted Anderson, I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
There are hundreds of silver products on the market today, but there's nothing like the astonishing health benefits of the multi-patented One Silver Solution. Boost your immune system at a great price with our Silver Solution Liquid, starting at $12.95 a bottle. Now available in regular and extra strength. That's half the price of the leading competitors. Call 844-USILVER for your free catalog, or go to OneSilverSolution.com. OneSilverSolution.com. There is only one Silver Solution.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS?
Then get on board with the Tax Admiral and let us steer your way to financial freedom.
The IRS is the largest collection agency in the world. They can freeze your bank accounts, seize your car, home, will garnish your paychecks and benefits.
Don't take on the IRS alone. I can fight for you using industry secrets that can help stop the IRS. I'll cut your penalties, slash your interest, and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely.
We're an A-rated company with over 30 years experience helping people clean up their mess with the IRS. And we have a 95% customer satisfaction rating.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS, are facing an audit, a lien, or levy, then call me right away.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180.
We use mobile devices right against our bodies every day, but growing scientific evidence has emerged showing serious health risks associated with exposure to EMF radiation emitted from these devices. The solution is Defender Shield, the most effective mobile radiation shielding ever developed. Defender Shield blocks virtually 100% of EMF radiation from cell phones, tablets, and laptops, and starts at just $64.99. Buy now at DefenderShield.com. For 10% off, use promo code GCN. DefenderShield.com, the worldwide leader in mobile radiation shielding.
You're listening to Free Talk Live. Call in toll free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-FREE.
You can join us here in the remaining moments of Free Talk Live. We have enough time for you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. Now, government of the world, can only spend so much money on so many things. They only have so much to go around until they print more out. And we certainly talked about the fiat money system during the show tonight. It is Ian and Mark here in the studio. And if you're spending money on putting people in prison, then that's less money than you can spend on other things. And in Venezuela, where they don't even have food in a lot of cases, like the basic food items are in short supply. People are standing in line for hours at a time. One woman stood from 3 a.m. till noon and then left empty-handed because the store was sold out of what she was looking for. If you're spending money on, let's say, putting 6,000 alleged smugglers in prison, well, that's going to take away some of the money from other things that you could be spending it on as a government that might actually help people a little bit better. But this is what the government is focusing on. They're blaming smugglers for their economic difficulty. They're blaming people who are just trying to work the marketplace, a marketplace that is incredibly imbalanced and was created by the Venezuelan government's mandatory exchange rate that they've set that nobody, except for the most obedient of citizens, is going by. And according to the story at the Wall Street Journal, you've got situations with shortages. You've got people attacking the National Guard because the National Guard will take supplies from smugglers that they catch. And then people who are hungry and desperate will then catch the National Guard. And in this case, in La Cibucara, Venezuela, set fire to their command post.
This is one of the reasons why socialism is a bad idea, folks. It doesn't create wealth. Even socialists will tell you this. They hunger and they claw after the wealth of the rich. But when you've driven all the rich out of your country, you're going to need to resort to free market principles in order to build back up wealth. Look, I get it. If your country's wealthy enough, you can go ahead and steal from the rich for a very long time in order to give it to the the unproductive class.
That's how they do it here.
Whether they work for the government or they just don't work at all.
In the socialist United States.
In socialist Europe and socialist, every state is socialist to some extent or another.
There's just more wealth here to tap into.
But the free market, the market that is set free is the most likely to produce the best results for the largest amount of people. And here in Venezuela, people have resorted to the age-old system, the one that really came around sort of before capitalism, which was robbery.
Might makes right?
Yeah, because ultimately if there's enough people, they're going to overpower the soldiers and take their stuff.
Well, get this. Armed soldiers are monitoring supermarkets as part of an effort the president calls, you're going to love this, Operation People's Liberation.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to liberate you by arresting more than 6,000 alleged smugglers. According to the Attorney General's office, images of soldiers posing with handcuffed suspects and stacks of decommissioned goods are splashed on state media. Maduro, in a national address last week, after a shootout with smugglers in the frontier state of Táchira, left 3 National Guard troops injured and pushed Venezuela to shut key border crossings. He says, "We're going to get to the root of the problem." The smugglers targeted by the way, the Venezuelan people are not fooled. The numbers earlier were that all of 20%
support this guy.
Yeah.
These are the government workers that are still getting paychecks.
The smugglers targeted by the government crackdown are called bacareros, named after a leaf cutter ant that can carry many times its weight. The word, first used here in the northwestern state of Zulia, has become part of the daily national parlance as a label for Venezuelans who buy price-controlled goods and then resell them for a profit on the black market. Now, specifically, many of them are buying them and then smuggling them over to Colombia, where they're selling them, getting dollars in Colombia, taking the dollars back into Venezuela, where they are approximately 600 times more valuable than the official exchange rate.
Yeah.
While the government blames the shortages on the bacareros, economists say they are the consequence of price controls and a broken economic model that has left average Venezuelans with a diminishing employment options. The people that used to give us work, the private companies, the rich, they've all gone, says Ms. Palma in La Cibucara, adding that she also occasionally traffics goods to get by. She says it's not the greatest business, but we don't have work, and we have to find a way to eat. Earlier this month, Venezuela.
Right. How can you have work when everybody's standing in line for 3 or 4 hours in the morning trying to get food? I mean, it destroys productivity. At that point, you can't. When you're not productive, you can't create a business that then puts other people to work.
Right. And if you create a business, you're screwed. If your business is not on the black market in Venezuela, I don't know how you can stay in business because you have to accept your prices have to be at the official exchange rate. So if you can't take $1 in at 600 bolivars, you have to take it in at 6.3. And so you can't do any kind of international trade like that. Right. You can't do a local trade.
They're not going to do that business.
Right. Lisandro Uriana had a black eye and a bandaged leg, said he and 2 friends were badly beaten when a neighbor's house was raided. They didn't say or ask us anything, recalled the 46-year-old father of 4 who lives in a tin-roofed house with 2 rooms. They just beat us, and we couldn't defend ourselves because they were armed and were many. I don't even smuggle, and now I can't even get up to work. So I guess that's part of the liberation plan. Operation People's Liberation, to liberate them from working legs and limbs.
Yeah, liberate them from being able to be productive. It's really sad. This is sort of what happens. You know, I mean, the military is a violent force, right? By definition, you point them at some people and say, go and solve this problem. You know, they're a man with a hammer, and they're going to implement the hammer. The hammer is violence. So they're just going to use violence. Oh, turns out it was the wrong people? Well, so what? We're not responsible for our actions. That's what it means to work for the government. It means that you never have to say you're sorry. Sometimes you do, but you rarely have to say you're sorry.
The day of the raids, neighbors said residents pleaded with troops at the National Guard command post to distribute seized food to non-smugglers, but they were turned away because the National Guard wants to eat the food.
They have families too, don't they?
An angry mob soon formed, sending soldiers fleeing before they attacked the office and even stripped it of its scrap metal.
Yep. This is how powerful your military is. When finally the people rise up, they just can't fight them.
The military ran. These are just some isolated cases, said the National Guard general on his overseeing of the operations there. He blamed the unrest and the Bacarero phenomenon on opponents of Mr. Maduro's government. He said that many of them are being shameless. They're committing treason against our country, taking food and crossing the border. But such food fights have broken out in numerous...
You know who's treasonous against the country? The politicians who run it. Yep. Those are the people that drove it into the ground. It's true with every country.
And continue to beat these people into the ground.
Any country that's having economic problems right now, believe me, its politicians did just fine in the past. They're doing just fine now. They're nothing but parasites. They're ticks.
Such food fights have broken out in numerous small municipalities around the state of Zulia. In the nearby town of Sinamakaya, I've got that wrong. I'm sorry. The ground floor of the mayor's office was set on fire in early August following a wave of unrest that included gangs looting delivery trucks. The unrest, locals said, began after police detained a truck loaded with rice. Just think about this for a moment. In the United States, we have the police detaining trucks looking for plants like marijuana or cocaine or, something like that. Cocaine is not a plant. I know that. The coca plant.
It's an extractive.
Yeah. And so they're looking for drugs, and they're seizing trucks. In Venezuela, they're seizing trucks full of rice. They're seizing trucks full of food. It's the same prohibition. The prohibition in this case is a prohibition on taking products from Venezuela and leaving Venezuela with them.
Right. Trade. They're prohibiting trade, and when goods and services can't cross borders, troops will.
Street vendor Robert Guzman, wearing a red pro-government shirt, said the sacking was justified. We are very peaceful people, he said, but what happened was an act of desperation. I think this is going to get worse.
He's probably right.
Resident Yuslaidi Marquez says she too fears the worst. The basket of subsidized food the government gives her mother every 15 days only feeds her family for 2. Lately, she only eats a cornmeal patty for lunch because she can't afford more. She says, I think we're going to die of hunger.
These people are starving. That's what's happening.
Do you think they'll make it to the December elections, Mark?
Right.
At this rate?
By the way, I do think they'll make it. I don't know. It should be interesting. It's very close. There's a concept out there, a word out there called democide, and democide means people that are killed by governments. When they stack up the numbers, it's not the biggest killer in the 20th century, but when you look at famine and realize that famine is often caused by governments, then you stack that number on top, then the state becomes the killingest thing in the 20th century.
8:55, 4:53. Wait, we're done for tonight.
FreeTalkLive.com. Check us out on the Facebook page at facebook.freetalklive.com. Drive safe.
I wish I could fall asleep. Jennifer had a stressful day, and now her mind is spinning at bedtime.
I've been lying here forever.
It's time for new Unisom Sleep Minis. The tiny capsules are non-habit forming and work fast. They're the little help busy people need to get a good night's sleep and wake recharged.
Good night.
New Unisom Sleep Minis. A stressful day deserves a restful night. Use as directed. Active ingredient diphenhydramine hydrochloride.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more.
It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
It's time to build your own emergency food stockpile with the industry leader, My Patriot Supply. Once you try them, you'll know why so many Americans like you have made them part of their emergency preparedness plan. Experience the My Patriot Supply difference today with this unbelievable offer. Right now, a 4-week food supply is only $99, and that includes free shipping. That's 50% off the online price. Call 800-274-3070 to claim yours. Limit 2 per caller while supplies last. This offer isn't available online, so you want to make sure and grab this opportunity to get prepared today. 800-274-3070 to get your 4-week food supply for the incredible price of only $99, and it'll be shipped to you completely free. Call 800-274-3070 right now. That's 800-274-3070 to claim yours while supplies last. Don't wait. Call today.
Get life advice from Dr. Joy Brown. Only here. GCN.